Oh, oh, I left it on the Twitter X page. Okay, first thing we're gonna do. I just got a text right as I was hitting go live, and some spam thing. There's three people in this. One of them I already recognize having a Philippines country code. The other number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see, what's 212? Freaking shit, dude. Morocco. Emily from Brightview Talent Solutions, recruiting US-based remote product testers. Wow. $100 to $500 per day by working just 60 to 90 minutes. Alright. Look at this shit, dude. Like, sometimes I think I should just get a brand new phone number, but I have so much crap associated with my current number that it's like, man, what a freaking asshole. I guess I'll deal, right? Deal with having, this stupid nonsense. Okay. Anyway, so I was already planning. I just got a USB hub. I'm working off of a laptop, right? So it's pretty much kind of a hassle having everything plugged into it. And I didn't realize USB-C was a thing. So when I first got it, I'm like, what the fuck are these two connectors? So I have two USB-Cs and two, classic USBs. Anyways, figuring shit out and having adapters and all this has been a thing. But anyway, I got this new hub. It's freaking nice. And an external drive to actually have space to record some videos onto. So I'm testing that stuff out. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's do like a stream and just record a bunch of React stuff, right? That way I can just hang out on stream, do stuff that I was going to do anyway. And I've noticed, like, just watching videos on my own that I'm like actually reacting, and I'm like, why am I not, recording or streaming this when, might as well, right? Um, and I have some takes, you know what I mean? Maybe they're hot takes, who knows? But I'd like to put my 2 cents out there, you know what I mean? Um, anyway, so I was planning. I like I said, I literally just got this stuff, so I was like set up, and I was like, all right, let me try out the whole React content thing because I enjoy watching it myself. Maybe I'll enjoy making some, right? Anyways, I was already like, okay, I'm not doing anything today. Let me go ahead and do it today. And in my recommended videos, I see this thing here. The ethics of reaction content, right? I'm like, okay, well, what a video to start me off. It's like, okay, YouTube, you heard me. You heard me planning things inside my head and decided, hey, we're gonna show you this. So let's watch it. Um, a couple of these things I'll let you know that I have queued up here. This one I actually watched while I was having breakfast, and I was thinking, like, you know what, I'm not gonna react to this one on stream. But it started getting interesting, which is why I was watching it in the first place. But I was like, okay, actually, I'd like to talk about this ideas. And then this one I was gonna watch, and I was like, you know what? Let's watch it on stream. Let's see what happens. And then we got this one here, and I thought sounded interesting, and I'm curious what they have to say. But some of these, I don't know. Maybe we won't even watch the whole video. But let's start with the ethics of reaction content and see what they have to say. Because I've got my opinions. Let's see what they have to say. I'm expecting that we won't be surprised, but let's go. Who's this channel, by the way? Hyper Chaotic. 188 subscribers. They're famous compared to me. Okay, let's go. 16 hours ago too. Let's check it out. Let's check it. Just get started.
What's going on, people of the internet? Happy Chaotic here with KRR, and welcome back or welcome if this is your first time. visiting my channel. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions, dear viewer. What makes a reaction video actually worthwhile versus copy and pasted content? Does your favorite reactor add any value to their content or just rehosting clips for views? Why do some reactors get praised for it while others get accused of stealing from other creators? As a casual reaction content enjoyer, I've been pondering these questions for a while, and I think I finally found some answers. You might wonder why I'm even asking. Well, lately there's been a surge of online discourse around reaction videos. Some people love them, others hate them, and very few seem to land in the middle. It's usually
Okay, I already have shit to fucking say. One, it's like, oh, man, I don't like how long these freaking videos are sometimes. But anyways, let's break this down piece by piece. One, right, is talking about like, are they actually adding to the content or are they just rehosting for views, right? That shit kind of annoys me because every once in a while, I'm trying to get off of Instagram, but sometimes you just open it up and then you get hooked, right? So I see some funny shit on Instagram sometimes, right? And I'm like, I like this. I want to see more of this freaking whatever it is, right? And I realize, oh, some fucker just reposted this, so I don't know where or how to find the original freaking thing, right? That shit's fucking annoying because, like, dude, that was good. And I could say, like, I appreciate that you reposted that so that I could see it. Now I know it exists, right? Maybe I wouldn't have seen the original, but freaking link back to it, right? Like, for example, this video alone. Boom. Check this guy out. If you guys like this video while we're watching it together, we can check out this guy's shit. It's that simple. And I'll get more onto that concept later because I've got other things to say on this topic, and that's why I wanted to start with this video. All right, let's go.
reaction content answers. Surge of online. Very few seem to land in the middle.
Oh, the other thing. The people that hate reaction content, right? The people that are freaking talking about how they fucking hate that content are fucking reacting. Alright, let's go.
One extreme or the other. Critics often argue that reaction content is nothing more than copyright infringement. Personally, I disagree, especially when commentary and fair use comes into play. Of course, fair use in the context of reaction videos is a legal gray area. It's not black and white, and the boundaries are often blurry. But the ambiguity suggests that there's
sometimes it's black and white.
Interpretation. When done right, reaction content can be transformative, insightful, and by comparing a creator who nails it with a couple who, well, don't. I will break down
which category shall I fall into?
Reaction content once and for all. Now, before we dive in, I need to cover a couple of quick points. First, when I talk about reaction content, I'm referring to both pre-recorded videos and live streams. That said, this video will lean more toward live streams since our examples come from that space. I also touch on how reaction styles differ between the two formats. Second, I know some might disagree with my choice of the creator who does it right. Especially
I already know who it is. I mean, you guys didn't see the thumbnail. It's Asmongold. It's gotta be the fact that he had Asmongold in the thumbnail, which you guys didn't see, and he's like, "Oh, people might disagree with my choice of example." That's pretty funny.
But let's be clear: personal beliefs or behaviors outside of their content aren't relevant here. What matters is the transformative quality of the reaction itself. So let's break down the do's and don'ts of reaction content and see how our examples measure up. Representing the do it right camp is Asmongold. The gold standard of reaction content. And yes, pun absolutely intended. On the other end of the spectrum, we got creators like SS Sniper Wolf and XQC.
I've heard of them and I've seen their faces before, but I have never seen any of their videos.
To no commentary, barely transforming the original material. It's more like watching someone watch a video than experiencing something new. That's where the line between reaction and re-upload starts to blur.
I
As
mean,
upload represent
like already though, that's kind of what people want to do, and I think there's maybe various reasons for it. Maybe not all reasons are in play at the same time, but one of the things is people are fucking lonely, dude. They want to fucking watch shit with their buddies, but that's not a thing you do as often anymore. You don't go hang out at your friend's place and hang out on the couch and watch shit. I haven't done that in holy shit, dude. I haven't done that in fucking years. Like I'll still hang out with folks in real life, but you don't hang out in the living room so much anymore, right? Um like the only time I do that is like I don't know if my nephews come to like hang out and we're playing video games, but we're not like watching TV and I don't watch TV with family all that often. Um yeah, and like certainly not with friends, especially as you get older, you know what I mean? Because you get separated and whatnot, people go their own ways. So the only time you hang out in that kind of a way is like maybe over Discord. That's what me and my buddies do, right? Just hang out on Discord. But yeah, so there's that, right? Just watching something. I mean, that's like the whole idea with watch parties, right? You're watching with other people. Another thing is there's a sense of validation when you're watching a content creator that you agree with or enjoy, and then they're watching something that is mutually interesting, right? And to get their their take on it and find that it agrees with yours, it's really validating and it feels good and it feels like you're not alone, right? All right, so that's what I'm thinking. Um, so this bit about experiencing something new, I don't. I think just following on Twitter. Check your Twitter. Give me a follow back. Says you're his Palmer 80. Let's see. Let me go ahead and take a break from what I was doing to go look at my Twitter. Liked my post. Let's see. Let's see what this person's got. Me, me, me star. And then there's like looks like a chick in the oh, and we could do. I don't want to click your link. Finding beauty in the calendar and creating amazing memories through artworks. Oh, is this what I think it is? Let's see. Let's see if this is what I think it is. Oh, I don't know how to use Twitter, you guys. By the way, I'm a boomer. All right, let's see. Looks very art. Okay. Humma humma humma. Oh, let's see. A banner maker. Mm-hmm. Overlays and starting screens. Okay. Humma humma. Oh, you make artwork and you sell it to content creators. I get it. Missions and things. I should probably not look at people's Twitters and X on stream though, because you never know when something's dangerous will pop up on X. So let me just close this now. Um, let's see, let's see. You could hit me up. I'm gonna just say that now. You could hit me up on X. Don't like start selling it on the stream chat though. I appreciate it. Any further ones from other folks coming to hang out, they're not gonna get the same message, but they're gonna get banned. Um, but anyway, I'll check you out later. Thank you. All right, what was I getting at? Something new. Like the very fact of making React content is, I don't know, has something new already just by default, but I guess that is where the gray area comes in, right? Because I'm thinking of the whole Ethan Klein, situation with the I don't know, Rogan, I think was one, and the other one or two people, whatever, right? They straight up are saying, "Hey, let's watch what this guy's making so that other, you could watch it through my stream instead of watching the actual, creator's content, right? That's pretty messed up shit. Um anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's keep watching.
Where the line between reaction and re-upload starts to blur. Asmongold represents a model of reaction content that leans into transformation. Rather than simply replaying clips for clicks, he uses the watched material as a launch pad for sustained analysis, storytelling, and debate.
Okay,
His
yeah.
reactions
Actually,
feel
so
like
I'll
audio
admit I watch
essays.
Asmongold,
He interprets
and
the clips,
this is exactly why I
using
enjoy
word
his
trends, and
content.
reacts in ways that only his audience expects from him. That makes the output distinctively new work. Viewers tune in for his perspective, not just to reconsume the original video.
So this is actually one of the things I really like about reaction content. And frankly, I would call um game streamers like the very first ones I started watching was like Markiplier back in the day, right? And I would call that react content because you're playing a game that wasn't what you created and you're reacting to the gameplay of it, right? It's a bit different, I suppose, from watching a video that somebody else made and then you react to it, but I don't think it's that different. Um, yeah, so I don't know. What am I getting at? Oh, so the reason why I want to make React content is because I've noticed that some of my takes are a bit different from what I've been like seeing on other things. And also, some of the folks that I like to watch, they don't necessarily watch all the same things that I like to watch. So it's like, dude, if no one's reacting to this stuff that I want someone to react to, I'll react to the stuff I want somebody to react to, right? Does that make sense? All right, let's go.
By contrast, many high profile examples of reaction content have drawn criticism for trimming and reposting others' work with
Oh, sorry.
minimal commentary. When reactors upload large portion of someone else's work, use thumbnails that emphasize the original creator subject, and offer little tagging or linking back, the upload functions more like content rehosting than transformation. This pattern amplifies the original while diverting ad revenue and views toward the reactor, creating ethical and legal tensions.
Actually, so yeah, I'm in complete agreement with that. I mean, it's like what I was saying about the whole thing on Instagram, where I'm seeing some cool clips or whatever that I really enjoy, and then it turns out like, oh, this motherfucker is just an account that reposts other people's shit. And it's like, I feel like to some extent, that's not that big of a problem as long as they link to the original stuff because it's like, hey, I'm glad you exist so that I can find the content I'm looking for, right? You could think of it as like a news aggregate site, right? It's like they collect all the stuff that other news sources are reporting on, but it's like, hey, these guys collect the things that I want to find, right? Um, yeah, kind of doing the same thing and rehosting the same content, but I feel like there would be a tipping point, right? Like how many of these need to exist before it's really causing a negative to the original creator instead of a positive. Because I feel like if it's bringing new people to the original, that's like in the realm of positive, right? But if people stick around with just the aggregators, um, maybe it's negative. And I think that'll be like a case by case basis. Anyway,
The
onward.
distinction
Man, that's gonna be a
isn't
long
legal,
video.
it's practical. Transformative reactors reduce copyright exposure by ensuring their work is new in purpose and expression. They build relationships with other creators and their audiences. Reactors who rely on near duplicates risk copyright claims. algorithm penalties for repetitive content, and reputational harm among both viewers and peers. In short, the choice between being a value added commentator and being a repactor determines whether reaction content strengthens the creator ecosystem or erodes it. Reaction content can be constructive, or I'm sorry, can be a constructive, culturally valuable format when creators treat source material with respect and use it to produce something distinctively new. Using Asmongold as an example of high value reaction work and contrasting that with patterns that look like rehosting content highlights a clear path creators can follow to stay both ethical.
I'm sorry. Oh man, it's like I might take some flack or something, but I don't know. Might get distracted. You know, I'm still listening to what this guy's saying, but he's got kind of a um, what do you call it? You know, it's not an accent, but anyway, like I guess you would call it a speech impediment or whatever. But anyway, I enjoy it. It's very nice. Um, it's charming. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say.
And sustainable. Now you might have gotten this far into the video thinking, but HK, it doesn't matter how transformative the creator tries to be, how much commentary they give, or how often they pause the video. Reaction content is lazy, and therefore bad. Full stop.
I mean,
Honestly, I find that to be one of the most ridiculous reasons to dismiss all reaction content across the board. Just because some people consider it a lazy format doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Think about it for a second. Many of you probably watch podcasts, commentary videos, or even gameplay. 2 out of those 3 I've done plenty of times on my own channel. And let me tell you from personal experience, those can be some of the laziest type of content to produce. You
yes.
speak into a mic,
Not
tweak
to
the
mention
audio,
they're the same thing.
slap on some background gameplay, or a drawing if you're a visual commentator, and maybe throw in a thumbnail pulled straight from the video. That's it. You literally can't get much lazier than that. And yet, tons of commentary channels thrive doing exactly that. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I mean that both personally and from the audience perspective. People clearly enjoy it. Same goes for gameplay videos. You're just recording yourself playing a game, maybe with commentary, maybe without. On my second channel, I upload no commentary playthroughs for preservation purposes. Link in the description down below, by the way. But let's be real.
All right. I don't know. I've never seen this guy's videos before, obviously. Well, I guess it's not obvious, but for preservation purposes, that's an interesting. I feel like you don't have to say that, and to say that, just you know, makes me suspicious. Anyway, that's it.
time I upload no commentary gameplay, I'm technically uploading somebody else's content, somebody else's work.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's the
100%.
truth. No matter how you try to spin it,
For
that's what it is.
preservation purposes.
And I'll admit that. I know what I'm doing.
He knows what
Still,
he's doing. Okay, I
it
like this
falls
guy.
into a legal gray area, just like reaction content, because gameplay can be transformative even without commentary. Developers usually don't mind because it's free advertising. Saves them money on trailers, and honestly, I'd argue that gameplay videos are a form of reaction content. You're
Exactly.
literally
That's exactly what I was saying
reacting
earlier.
to the game as you play.
Yep.
That said, it shouldn't be lumped into the same category as reaction videos on YouTube or Twitch, but if anything, it's a subcategory of reaction content.
Yeah, I'm in
Games
agreement with
are
that.
interactive, which means each
Oh,
playthrough is
I'm
unique.
glad I didn't pause. I was going to
That
say
alone makes
exactly
it
that.
more transformative than simply reacting to a static video. Of
Mm.
course, there are exceptions. Some developers who release story-driven games prefer creators hold off on uploading gameplay until fans have had a chance to experience it themselves. Because if the story is the main draw, and someone watches it all on YouTube or Twitch, they might not buy the game. But eventually,
I've got a thing to say on that though. Is like that's could be true, but I mean they might not have bought the game anyway, and it depends on the content and the person. But I mean, there's some games where like, say for example, I mean it's not. I guess story driven in the context he's saying. But Resident Evil 7, right? I wouldn't say it's the best Resident Evil game there is, but it was pretty good. And they got the horror aspect back in there, but there was some things I didn't like about it. But anyways, I watched like 5 different people's playthroughs of this thing before I even bought my own copy and then played through it myself. It's like if it's good, even if somebody watches it, they're going to get it themselves. I think a good example, a better example actually is uh what is that game called? It's Paradise something or Bird some, I don't know. There's a To the Moon. I think it might be I think it's the same studio or group that made it. But To the Moon, right? I watched PewDiePie play it. I watched Markiplier play it. I got it myself and I played it myself. Why? Because I just thought it was that great. Even though it was story driven, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen every step of the way, if it's a nice, fun experience, you're going to want to experience it again. And it's going to be different when you experience it yourself, by yourself, rather than, watching somebody else's content. So, I can see where he's coming from there. I don't agree 100%. I don't disagree 100%, but yeah, I wouldn't say it outright like that.
devs usually allow it once the initial sales window passes. At that point, creators can be more transformative with reactions and personal experiences. That kind of situation is closer to reacting to a movie or a TV show, where the story is the core content and interaction is minimal. Now, since I keep bouncing between videos and streams, let's talk
Sorry.
about format differences. With videos, you can edit things down and make your reactions more transformative. If you don't have much to say during certain parts, you can cut those sections out entirely. That helps to avoid copyright issues and accusations of content theft. Well, for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. And then there's the creative stuff. Gun sync videos, music videos using game footage, asset breakdowns, lore analysis, commentary with gameplay in the background, even if the commentary isn't about the game itself. I do that all the time. I throw gameplay in the background just to give viewers something to look at while I talk. Some people just listen like it's a podcast, but others appreciate the visuals. Speaking of podcast, let's circle back. What is a podcast? Really? It's basically long form commentary. Whether it's one person or a
Yeah.
group, they're sharing thoughts and opinions on whatever topic they choose. Many podcasts react to news and pop culture. And if you think about it, that's a form of reaction content too. Even if they're not reacting to an article or a video
All right.
directly. If it's not in podcast form, but instead a well edited scripted video, that's essentially a reaction commentary. Not an official category, but in my opinion, it should be considered a subcategory of reaction content. Think of creators like Ultiori, if you're familiar with her.
All right. We'll get to where
Still a
what he says
reaction
is not a
content.
good example,
The only we're going
which
away
looks like
to
it's
grab
coming up.
food or use the bathroom. No commentary, no engagement, just someone else's content running in the background while he's not even present.
Okay.
Without actually engaging, using someone else's content and interacting with it. Reaction content can be valuable, insightful, and
All right. So he's at the point where
entertaining.
he's just kind of repeating the same thing, or I might be missing something. So if you want to check out the rest of this guy's video, hyper chaotic. I like the video. Well, bam. Let's check out his stuff here. YouTube's A/B testing is not what viewers think. Interesting. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it has to do with the titles of videos. Changing. Um, cool. Yeah. I'll go ahead and link the video in the stream chat in case anybody pops in for the VOD and wants to watch the whole video and give them a like and a sub. Interesting. Oh, okay, okay. I don't like that it made a sound when I freaking sent a message in there, but whatever. Let's see. Yeah, let's give him a sub. Why not? I might end up reacting to his other video. But yeah, check out his stuff. We're gonna move on. All right. So this one I wasn't gonna react to on stream. I was just having breakfast and watching it, and then it got interesting. So let's move on to this one right here. Veritasium.
In 1999, the German newspaper Die Zeit ran an experiment. They asked a falafel salesman and former theater director Sala Bengali who in the world he would most like to be connected to. He chose his favorite actor, Marlon Brando. So the reporters then searched for a chain of friends, family, or acquaintances, people who knew each other on a first name basis.
Okay, so I'm just gonna like summarize some sections of it because, like I said, I've already seen all this, so the react part is kind of like this would fall into the category of me just showing this guy's video. So if you want to see the whole video, obviously, I'll go ahead and link it right now. Check out the video. Be from here, right? So actually, let me go ahead and put. Oh, I was gonna put in a description of which video it was. Anyway, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people already have heard of like 6 degrees of separation, right? It's the idea that anybody on the planet is connected to anybody else by maximum, 6 points of contact. So it's like a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. Anyway, so they go into talking about how they made this kind of discovery and blah blah blah, network shortcuts, and some like experimenting with this stuff, and tests. Strength of weak ties had to do with how your weaker connections with people, like something that's like an acquaintance, can have a huge effect on your life. Anyway, I would say watch the whole video because there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. Small world, that whole thing with you go on vacation somewhere far away and then you see somebody that's like, wow, how the heck did I happen to see you here, kind of thing. It makes me think of when I was in Japan. I was staying at a hostel, and yeah, just happened to meet another Filipino dude that was also from the same area as me, and it's like we just so happened to be at the same place at the same time on the other side of the fucking planet. Like we didn't know each other before, but it's like still we had a lot of um proximity, things in common, which was really interesting. Um how quickly disease could spread, that part's pretty neat. Um Network hub preferential attachment. All right, let's go to this. I think this is the part that I was watching that had me thinking I wanted to have this on stream.
We had a very clear expectation of how that network should look like.
Barabashi thought the distribution of pages and links would resemble a bell curve, similar to what you'd get for people's height across a population. Most sites would have some average number of links, and there would be very few outliers either side. But that is not what he saw.
And so we measured the distribution, and it didn't look anything like what we expected.
The curve started out steep. Loads of websites had not many links. Then there was this really long tail.
And here we saw web pages that had not only a little more, but sometimes 100 times more links than the average degree or the average node on the website.
These were websites like Yahoo, super connectors that linked to thousands of other sites. Barabashi called them hubs because when he mapped out the network, they resembled the hub of a wheel with spokes going out to hundreds of other pages. And it was these hubs that made the web a small world, not shortcuts. So Barabashi wondered, how could this
He called them hubs. because this isn't even the thing I wanted to react to. I was like doing some dishes while this part was playing. I was kind of listening in the background, not picking everything up, but because they resembled spokes on a wheel, called it a hub because it's a wheel. Like that's what you call a hub, is a thing that things connect to. It doesn't have to be like, oh, he called it a hub because we also call this thing that's a hub a hub. It's like, yeah, because it's a hub. What the heck? I mean, so where I grew up, I would think of it as a hub because it was like just a small town that there's not fucking shit to do there, right? But it was near dead center of a bunch of big, cities. I mean, it's like hour, 2, 3 hours away, but we had easy access to each of these cities relative to other people around us. Like if you lived in one of those cities, it'd take you like 4 or 5 hours to get to the other one, right? But from our place, it's only 2 hours to that one, or 2 hours to that one, 2 hours, So that it's also a hub, and yeah, we called, well, I called our area a hub. I don't know how much people actually thought about it, but people would freaking leave town to go fucking do shit over the weekend, whatever. Anyway, fucking silly pause there.
Applied to other networks too.
Most real networks, or virtually all large networks, follow two very fundamental principles. First, any large network out there never pops out as a large network, but it grows, right? You have a tiny World Wide Web in 1991, and now we have trillions of nodes on the World Wide Web. How did we get to 1 to a trillion? One node at a time, one website at a time. All the networks out there, no matter how old, how fast they emerged, they always emerge to some kind of growth process. So if you think about networks, you must build in that growth process. Number two, when a new node comes in, you join Facebook, who you're gonna connect to, right? And it is somewhat unpredictable, but it's biased. Your connections are always biased towards the more connected nodes, simply because you are more likely to know a more connected node than a less connected node. We named this process preferential attachment.
Barabashi reasoned that these two principles could explain how hubs naturally emerge when a network grows. So together with his colleague, Reika Albert, he ran a simulation.
We've also got a simulation for this.
Build a website you love.
No.
Wix. For your words?
They started with a simple network of just a few connected nodes. Then they began adding new nodes to the network one at a time, with just one condition. They'd be more likely to connect to nodes that already had more links.
That's so cool. Looks very biological, very organic. Also, I like how the nodes come out and they don't just sort of stop in one spot. They kind of like wiggle around and like find their...
Okay, we're done with this video. I got to the part I wanted to talk about. Anyway, like I said, I saw the first half of the video. It's pretty neat. Getting some of the history of the whole concept of 6 degrees of separation, and yeah, and what the thinking went into it and came out of it. So definitely check out the video. And again, I'm not even watching the second half on stream. I just wanted to talk about this whole network part because it was making me think of React content again, and so it's related to the last video for me anyway, because one of my go-to React content streamers, YouTubers that I enjoy watching. Obviously, I mentioned Asmongold, but I watch a lot of, not a lot, but I'll watch Smugalana. I'm a fan, though. If I ever react to her content, I might talk some shit because there's just some of her quirks that I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, Smugalana and also Cypress. I enjoy their content. I like Cypress's old model better, but okay, if it makes you happy. So yeah, I enjoy their React content, and it got me thinking, like, dude, I want to make some React content because I have other things to say that these two aren't saying. And same with Asmongold and some others. But the thing is, and I think it's hilarious, is the reason I watch Asmongold and also Shoe on Head and a couple others that aren't coming to mind at the moment is because of Smugglana. Like I knew of Shoe on Head and I knew of Asmongold and I've seen their videos here and there, but I never really regularly watched their videos or subbed to them until I was watching Smugglana's videos, reacting to their videos, and now I'm like, okay, well, obviously I like their content, so I'll watch their content, you know? So I think that is, in my own experience, a positive and the hopeful, I guess, result of React content, right? Is that you're actually bringing more viewers to the original content creator. And yeah, so I think it can be a good thing if done right. And yeah, a little shout out to Smugglana for reacting to some folks that that I enjoy watching now. Anyway, we're gonna move on from this one. That's the whole thing I wanted to draw the connection with the whole network thing is yeah, some React content creators are kind of a hub for some people to find the content they want to find. Same thing goes for the Instagram aggregators and content thieves. Sometimes it works out well. All right, now I'm going to go into something that's completely different. And again, a liquid that can smell and chase other drops. Sounds kind of like something that collects things that are looking for other things. Anyway, let's go.
The law of attraction states that like attracts like, but I never thought it would go this far. This is a drop of my blood, and surprisingly, McCormick red food coloring looks exactly the same as a drop of blood. So, it's attracted to it? What? Today I'm going to show you why food coloring is not only attracted to my blood, but it's attracted to food. And when you put a bunch of drops of food coloring together, they sense each other, move, and react as if alive, locked in a continual dance of attraction and escape. This is a video about the mystery of attractive liquids. In 2009, an undergraduate at the University of Wisconsin was doing an experiment where he dropped...
Okay, I want to guess. So my first thought was the whole. Well, actually, I had two things come to mind. One, iron in your blood. I don't know if that has anything to do with like magnetism or something like that going on, or some charge, right? Charged particles, and it's like, oh, okay, so it's attracting somehow, right? So there's that. Or if it's similar to osmosis or diffusion. So I mean, you could think of maybe the air as a semi-permeable membrane, right? Anyway, I'm just some fucking retard saying all this shit, but that's what I'm thinking, right? All right, let's see what the thing is.
Drops of food coloring onto a sterile glass slide. To his astonishment, the drops seemed to come alive. They began moving on their own and interacting with each other. Had he just discovered a new form of life? He studied this phenomenon on his own until later joining the PhD program at Stanford, where he and his team finally got to the bottom of what was going on. They found that these droplets mimicked living cells and could even self-sort. In this video, I'm going to show you how this works and even show exactly what to do to mimic this experiment at home for yourself. The reason this happens with food coloring specifically is because of a special ingredient called propylene glycol. This is a drop of water, and this is a drop of propylene glycol. When I put each of these liquids on clean glass slides, they spread out almost completely. But something interesting happens when we combine the two drops into one drop. They don't spread out as well. So if we look at the drop height...
Wait. What is he saying here?
This is a drop of water.
Okay.
This is a drop of propylene
water,
glycol.
Propylene glycol.
When I put each of these liquids on clean glass slides, they spread out almost completely.
Okay.
But something interesting happens when we combine the two drops into one drop. They don't spread out as well. So if we look at the drop height versus the percent of propylene glycol, we get a curve that looks like this. For some reason, when we mix the drops in almost any ratio, the drops get an edge to them that puff up a bit. The reason this happens is due to one of my favorite phenomena in physics called the Marangoni effect. Near the edges of the drop, you get higher evaporation rates than at the center. And because water evaporates hundreds of times faster than propylene glycol, that means that the edges of the drop have higher concentrations than the center. And since water has a higher surface tension than propylene glycol, it pulls the propylene glycol up into the center. So there's continual flow from the edges of the drop towards the center of the drop. This keeps the drop perked up a bit. So when the evaporation of water is uniform around the edges, the drop just sits there. But then something magical happens when the evaporation of water from the drop isn't uniform. It can move. For example, if I place another drop of the same mixture of propylene glycol and water near each other, the water from each of the drops starts to evaporate. But notice how in the middle of the two drops, the evaporated water builds up more. So there's a higher relative humidity in between the drops than on the other side of the drops. Water doesn't evaporate as fast when there's a higher humidity in the air. So that means on the outside of the drop, there's a higher concentration of propylene glycol due to the faster evaporation of water on that side. So the surface tension gradient is no longer uniform, and the flow goes from low surface tension to high surface tension. So that means each drop flows toward the other. This is amazing. They're literally following the vapor trail of each other. They sniff out the water vapor in the air. So that means if I just put something that has water on it, the propylene glycol drop can sniff it out and find where it is and follow it. It's like the drop is attracted to anything with water on it, even my finger. Now you can understand that there was nothing special about it being attracted to my blood or the apple. It was just that both of them had water in it. So when two drops have the same...
Okay, so it's going towards the water, low surface tension to high surface tension. Or no, high to low. I'm like trying to think of how that relates to what I said earlier about the whole osmosis diffusion thing. Because it's like, so it's going towards where there's more water, but where there's more water is actually, but say like, there would be a less concentration of, I think, propylene glycol, but you could say that about every point outside of that drop. But anyways, interesting.
Same concentration, they move towards each other and merge. But something even stranger happens if the drops have different concentrations of propylene glycol. If the drops are different, they're still attracted to each other, but once they come close to each other, the propylene glycol-rich drop attacks the water-rich drop and drives it away.
Okay, so that is related to what I was saying, right? So they go to each other because of the whole surface tension thing and the relative humidity differential. I don't know if I used differential properly there. But then when they make contact, it's like the one that has the higher concentration goes into the one that has lesser concentration, which is what you would expect from diffusion of a substance in water, right? Osmosis has to do with the water moving, right?
Really, the water drop is pulling the propylene glycol-rich drop. If I make a path...
Oh, okay, then that would be osmosis, right? Anyway.
For the drops, you can see that it just drives it around and around in a circle. This can even go uphill against gravity. The two drops pushing each other is basically the same mechanism that's causing either drop to move in the first place. The flow goes from low surface tension high propylene glycol areas to high surface tension high water areas. What's really neat about this is that the liquids can even self-sort. But before we continue, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via messaging, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist in the app or online anytime and schedule a live session when it's convenient for you. And what's nice is if your therapist isn't the right fit for you for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you'd expect from in-office therapy, but with more scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. So get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/actionlab, or just click the link in the description. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to our experiment.
Okay, so here's another benefit I would say to React content, is particularly when a content creator you're reacting to has an in-video sponsorship, right? Now, this maybe isn't a good example of one of those, since there's a lot of controversy regarding BetterHelp, but I would imagine some people have had good experiences and many have had bad, and you're only going to hear about the bad ones, right? So I don't have much of an opinion on it. I've seen a lot of the Action Lab videos before, so I know in like tons of his videos, people in the comments are like, "I can't believe you're still taking sponsorships from BetterHelp," blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. But anyway, if you think it might help you, here's you could help out the Action Lab by end yourself. You know, so there you go.
If I arrange the liquids so that they go from high concentration of propylene glycol to low concentration, then whatever concentration of drop I roll down this incline, it will find its corresponding concentration bin. This is because the higher water concentration drops get repelled until they find their same concentration. This is so cool. So if you want to try this at home, it's actually not that hard to do, but you have to be very specific with how you set it up. First, you need very clean glass or it won't work. The easiest thing to do is order some microscope slides from Amazon, but you can probably use any flat sheet of glass that's really clean. Then you need to heat it up and burn off any organics that are on the glass. This will help the drops not get pinned in place. So you can hold it in a flame like a Bunsen burner for about 20 to 30 seconds. Then you need your propylene glycol. Now you can order this online as well, but you can also get a solution of it from your grocery store. Most food colorings have propylene glycol as the main ingredient, but you have to.
You could just get propylene glycol on its own. Like you would see it in probably the pharmacy section. I think it would be labeled like as a skin protectant. It might be like near lotions or that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I used to buy, I used to buy it back in the day. Um, so man, people probably don't even remember blue cigarettes, right? So right now, vape is the whole thing, right? Um, I'm trying to think if we called it vape back then. Uh, but yeah, like there were the blue cigarettes, there was like the Enjoy and all this. I don't think those are a thing anymore. But it was like, yeah, I mean, I never smoked cigarettes before, but my cousin showed up and he had this like electronic he was he did smoke cigarettes, so he went to those. But it was cool. It was cool watching them. You'd be like blowing smoke rings, but they were vapor rings, right? And yeah, it was badass. And you could get ones that were non nicotine having, right? And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get me one. And I had tried his before, right? So when you vape, man, I haven't vaped in a long time. But yeah, when you vape like a nicotine vape, right? You get that throat hit, which is another term that I haven't heard in years. So there's that throat hit, right? You can feel like that kind of a burning sensation in your throat, and it's like a little bit uncomfortable, but also kind of good at the same time. And that's what she said. Um, uh, but yeah, when you get it without nicotine, you don't feel that, and it's really unsatisfying. So I ended up getting ones with nicotine, and then not too much longer after that, I'm fucking smoking cigarettes. So don't vape, folks. It's not good for you. It's you hear all this stuff about gateway drugs being a thing. It's like, oh no, it's not actually a thing. It can be a thing for some folks. Be careful. Be careful out there. Um, and people say like, oh, it's not dangerous, whatever. Like aside from the whole lungs thing and blah blah blah, it raises your heart rate, and like when you're not even doing anything, you're sitting there, and now you're sitting with freaking 100 beats per minute, right? That's not good. Not good for your heart. It fucks up your sleep if you're doing it regularly, like some of these folks do, like I did back in the day, dude. My sleep was not fucking good. It was not a good time, but it was fun. It was fun. The brand I ended up getting a lot, I don't know if they still exist, was called Totally Wicked. And they had these freaking cool vapes, and they had like the fucking coolest, newest shit, right? And what you could also order from them back in the day was like a vial of like fairly concentrated nicotine solution, unflavored. It was just like high concentration, like dangerous warning label, like you get it on your skin, you might poison yourself, kind of thing, because nicotine absorbs through the skin. And yeah, so we would get that, and then we would go to a website that sells products for making your own homemade candy, right? And so we would get some candy flavoring oils, and then we would also go to like our local Walmart or other grocery store and get a bottle of propylene glycol. And we would mix the nicotine solution with the candy oil to flavor it. And then we would add in propylene glycol to do one or both of two things. And the main would be to dilute the solution of nicotine so it wouldn't be, so we could make it as strong as we'd like, right? And vaping this stuff straight out of that nicotine bottle was like, no, don't do that. That's really bad. And just not comfortable at all and not satisfying at all. It wasn't good. So you'd want to dilute the nicotine. And then also, there was a few different ingredients they would use for these vape juices, and I'm sure it's not that different now as it was then. But propylene glycol was one of them. Another one was, I think, vegetable glycol or something like that. Anyways, the propylene glycol would make some fat ass clouds, you know what I mean? So that's another reason why we would use that, was to kind of add a bit more oomph to the clouds that we'd make. Man, we did so much customization. Like, so they would also have in the cartridges like a bit of like cotton or something. That's basically the wick for the liquid to get it to the atomizer to vaporize it, right? But what we would do is we would get these instant tea packs, right? And this particular type, I don't remember what brand it was, but it was like the tea leaves, stuff. I don't know what you call it. It's all, ground up herb stuff, right? Was in this mesh container thing. And I think it's the same thing that's used in some like fish tank products as well. But it's like this, I guess, some kind of a plastic mesh, right? Anyway, we would use that instead of cotton, and that would get more liquid to the atomizer, um, and it would just like wick really well. Anyway, we did all this fucking crazy shit. Vaping's bad, folks. Don't do it. But it was fun experimenting back in the day, just like experimenting like this. But don't experiment with your health. Learn from my mistake.
Make sure there aren't a bunch of other ingredients. For example, I tried this with this cheap brand that has a ton of other stuff in it, and it didn't work at all. But this McCormick food coloring works great because it's just water and propylene glycol. So you can use this and just put tiny drops on the glass slide and they'll start moving around. And also, you can use a Sharpie to make boundaries for the drops. The Sharpie's hydrophobic, so it repels the drops enough to form a barrier. This is so fun. So you can make little racetracks for the drops. And thanks for watching another episode of the Action Lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, remember to hit that subscribe.
All right. The Action Lab, always fun to watch. I'll go ahead and subscribe. So the reason I'm not subscribed on these channels is because this is basically the first time I'm watching YouTube. on my account here. My main account obviously has a bunch of subscriptions, and that's probably what I'm going to be using for searching up videos to watch and send them over here rather than having them, so you don't know what my main, YouTube is. I don't want you knowing that yet. But yeah, check them out. Great stuff. The Action Lab. You probably heard of them already. Next. This one, I doubt we're going to go through this whole video. I'm just curious what the punchline is.
You've probably seen something like this on the internet before.
Chayu
The letters of
arrayed
the words are all
to
jumbled up, but supposedly, as long as the first and sometimes last letters of each word stay the same, somehow we can read it. This quirky language game seems to suggest that reading is a pretty inexact process. Our eyes skim the print, we notice the length of the word and maybe the first letter. Then our brains use context clues to deduce what the word should be. But is that really how reading works? Believe it or not, this question is at the heart of a decades-long battle in the English-speaking world.
I mean, I think I have already a good example of. It might depend on the context that you have access to or have had access to, right? Because there's the occasional thing you'll see on Instagram or some other sources where it's like a series of letters, right? And it's like, if you're such and such, like, I don't know, if you're a redneck living in this area at this time, this time period, you know exactly what this says or whatever. Or, if you're like living in the South and you're black, you know exactly what this, like, whatever, right? Though, even just putting the context in the description and you're not of that identity, right? You could still fucking read that shit. I mean, the one that's coming to mind is like, oh, you better get your ass in this motherfucking house, blah blah blah, and it was hilarious because I'm like just kind of giggling to myself because I could read this thing that it was just the first letter of this freaking string of this couple of sentences, right? And I asked my nephew, like, hey, can you read this? And then he starts reading it. He's freaking 12 years old. I'm like, how are you able to read that? What the heck? And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can see somebody arguing that that's not reading, but like, well, then what is it? It's characters on a page that you're deciphering into meaning, right? I don't know. I would call that reading.
A battle
Anyway,
that's
let's
been
see.
raging amongst educators, politicians, and scientists. But what is the best way to teach children to read? Even as I speak, school districts across the US are facing the possibility that the whole theory they've been using to teach kids to read is totally wrong. Whether or not this means the wars are
Instantly. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, I learned how to read that way. Fucking keep it. Stop trying to do this like fancy fucking shit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then where things are broken, maybe it's the fucking teacher not able to fucking teach the shit, or maybe there's some other like local social issues going on, right? But and the reason I'm getting like kind of riled up on this subject is because mathematics, dude. I don't think it's got to be that hard. And I was going to college to become a math professor, and I dropped out because I just couldn't handle some aspects of college. And one of the things that was really eating away at me is, I was having some trouble, family, personal issues, and so my professors was, you know, really understanding, but I think overly so, to the point where I absolutely could have passed my classes without actually learning anything, and I don't think that's acceptable. You could be nice, you could be kind, but you can't do that at the detriment of quality. And so I didn't want to finish. I was like, no, I'm not gonna fucking get the fucking paper, right? Anyway, that's a little tangent. But the thing is, and it wasn't math related actually at the time. I ended up switching majors at some point. But anyways, math. Yeah, so among the classes we had to take were things like early childhood education and number systems was where we learned like some of the like, oh, this is how we're teaching math now versus how we used to kind of thing. And like the whole Common Core stuff, and then also helping my nieces and nephews and some of my peers with their math and them showing me how they were taught how to do things. And it's like, I have to spend a few minutes making sense of what they're putting down that their teacher showed them. And I'm like, okay, I could see where they're coming from with this stuff. And I can definitely see the strength that you can get from this stuff. But basically, in my view, and as evidenced by a lot of people's confusion with this stuff, is you're trying to skip ahead to developing intuition, but intuition doesn't come from a lesson. Intuition comes from repetition, and you get the repetition from doing the fucking bare bones shit, right? It's like you don't get um like all the ingredients to a cake and like have this like complicated process to put it together. You do it step by step every single time until it gets to the point where you know how to make a cake. You can cut the corners where you can cut the corners. But I feel like Common Core cuts corners for you and you don't know what corners are being cut. And so you're not actually learning, you're not developing intuition. You're learning something that was developed off of somebody else's intuition, and because of that you don't learn how to think. That's what I think is happening with a lot of education, and I think that is potentially why it might happen with this whole reading thing. Let's see what they're going to get to.
Truly over, digging into the history can teach us a lot about how our brains work and offer a new appreciation for one of mankind's greatest inventions, the written word. I'm Dr. Erica Brzozowski, and this is Other Words.
I also want to point out I am more of a math guy, but I think the whole like, oh, I'm more math or I'm more English, like that's some fucking bullshit. It's like you're just lazy and you're convincing yourself about one thing or you're letting other people convince you. Like, dude, English is pretty fucking cool. Languages are pretty fucking cool. Math is pretty fucking cool. And there's a lot of similarities, but people like to make it out like English is creative and math is not. And it's like, dude, they're both creative. And if you're thinking in a binary way like that, you're probably not creative in either one of them. And it's not necessarily your fault. I think it might have to do with the way you were taught how to look at these things. Anyways, let's go. Okay, let's go.
The 60s and 70s were times of great social upheaval in the West. Long-standing conventions were being challenged, and society was being reimagined to give individuals more freedom and autonomy. Against this backdrop, a novel theory of how children learn to read was introduced by language professor Ken Goodman. Up until this time, most children learned to read through phonics, which taught the correlation of alphabetic symbols to vocal sounds. But Goodwin's whole language theory asserted that children didn't learn to read by sounding out words. Instead, the process was much more natural and intuitive. Give a kid enough freedom and access to books, and they'll discover how to read on their own, much like babies learn to walk and talk. New Zealand literacy researcher Maury Clay developed a teaching program based on whole language theory, which incorporated a strategy known as cueing or 3-cueing. The idea is that when confronted with an unfamiliar word, the natural solution is not to sound it out, but to guess it using context clues. These clues were grouped into 3 categories, hence 3-cueing. Visual, which meant the shape of the word or its spelling, syntactic, which is the sentence structure and grammar, and semantic, the meaning of the passage, which could even include illustrations. For instance, if the child doesn't know this word, they could use the sentence structure to guess that it's a noun, the illustration to guess its meaning, and the first letter to triangulate to a solution that fits all 3 categories. Clay's program was adopted by all New Zealand schools by 1983 and then imported to America, where versions of it were popularized by education professors
Context
like
clues.
Hawkins,
Context
Ivan
clues.
Douglas, and Gaysu Pinnell. An important component of the method, proponents claimed, was that reading always be perceived as a pleasurable, self-guided activity. Lessons were brief, and students were encouraged to spend lots of time reading alone. Phonics should be limited or avoided altogether because it could make reading feel tedious and dull. If you instill a love and enthusiasm for reading early on, the thinking went, kids will become skilled readers on their own. It was a philosophy that resonated with a lot of people at the time, and by
Women.
the 1990s, cueing had come to dominate reading curricula in school districts across the country. And yet, since its implementation, America has experienced a crisis in early literacy, with less than a third of fourth graders being able to read at a proficient level.
All right. I don't know where we're gonna go with this, but I learned the whole phonics method. Though I would imagine there must have been the instilling. Let me pause at a different spot. Like an enjoyment of reading, I guess, but I'm like, I can still remember back to elementary school, right? Um, you know, reading, I think, always felt like a chore. The one time that it was kind of more on the fun side, but also still a bit of a chore was, I remember my fourth grade reading class. We had these short, like 2 to 3 pages short stories, and it was on this revolving rack and separated by skill level, right? And it's like you have to do some number of them at this lower level before you can move on to the next level, and it's like you get to level up, right? So you have to like complete reading them, and there was some kind of activity for each one. So it was a little bit of a hassle isn't the right word, but kind of just bothersome to do. But also it's fun because you get to level up and you want to, it gets those competitive juices flowing, right? And yeah, so there was that, right? But I'm pretty sure other than that, I just read through like phonics. And then as far as like books to read for enjoyment, I'm like, the only books that come to mind are like The Adventures of Sheila the Great, and that was a spin-off of some other series, um, Fudge, Super Fudge. Um, anyway, it was like this guy and this brother, right? The younger brother was called Fudge. Anyway, those were fun books. And then, freaking Captain Underpants and stuff like that. So, reading can be fun if you're reading things that you find enjoyable, right? And I remember in middle school, there's still this book that I've always wanted to find again, because I don't know what it was called. I remember it kept referring to brigands, I think, or vagabonds or something. And from what I can remember from the images in my head from reading that book, it was like some kind of desert situation. Um, like I feel like a Middle East type of setting. But anyway, it was like this guy going on an adventure, this like young dude, but like some crazy shit he's encountering. And I have no idea what this book is, and I've tried and tried to find it. And what doesn't help is I still remember actually what the book looked like, and it had like kind of that cloth, um, outer like exterior. It was super faded, and I don't recall it having like it was so faded. I think that the title wasn't even on there. It was like this kind of yellowish, beigeish, greenish, worn out kind of cloth texture to the cover of the book, and that's it. That's all I remember. Anyway, could not find this book ever again. But it was a cool book. Never got the chance to finish it. Um, and then high school, had to read another book called like um, what was it? A separate. It was like this like coming of age thing, and there were two friends. They were hanging out. There was like the main character. It was like written from his perspective, and he had this other friend who was like the cool kid, and he was a cool guy. And so they're going out doing cool things because the cool kid was like, we're gonna go do cool things, and we're climbing a tree. And the friend falls out of the tree and gets like super injured or whatever, and like basically quietly blames the not as cool friend for the situation. I think that's how it went. Like I was, a stupid idiot back in high school, so I could be misremembering or have had misinterpreted the story, but it was a pretty neat book, and I think, again, it was a bother to read. I actually don't think I realized I enjoyed the book, and like looking back on it, I'm like, dude, I would love to read that book again because it was interesting, but it wasn't interesting to me at the time. Um, Trying to think if there are any other books. Tiger Eyes, that was a neat book that I read in middle school. I don't remember too many other books in high school. And then I got into reading like maybe a few years after high school, found this book series that I just freaking ate it up. It was the Sano Ichiro series by Laura Jo Roland. Very cool series, 27 books. And like I started ordering off, I think, Amazon, like the next 2, 3 books at a time while I was still reading, midway through the book I was on. It was just that good. Um, it's like you just have to find something and then also kind of take the plunge and like go for it, because especially now with so much content like what I'm freaking reacting to right now, this digital content on the internet, it's hard to get yourself to do things that are a bit more effortful. Um, and that's also kind of why I want to do my own React content, because I want to fucking have people see my shit and pick up what I'm putting down, and then also maybe we could all step away from the computer, step away from the phone together, you know? Um Anyway, yeah. But yeah, so a lot of fourth graders not able to read at or above a proficient reading level. Well, it's because their freaking parents, people of my generation, fucking suck. They're letting their kids grow up on iPads and iPhones and Android phones and blah blah blah. And it's like, to some extent, it's not their fault, right? They don't know. Most people are stupid, like, and most people are most people, right? I'm most people. We're dumb unless we're given the space, time, opportunity to look at things, right? And then even then, we might be wrong, right? And that's also a problem. Is like we're not allowed to be wrong a lot of times, so we don't even do it, even when we have the opportunity. Um, so yeah, these kids are growing up with this stupid shit, right? It gets them kind of savvy in different ways. Like talking to my nephew is pretty hilarious. The stuff that he knows, because it's like, man, I was like retarded compared to you when I was your age, but also I was a better student than you, and whatever. And I still had friends, and we were like trying to start a band and all this, so we're still doing cool shit. We are like, I wasn't like lame or anything. You know what I mean? Um, uh, but yeah, it's like you build things like your intuition and like your attention span through practice and effort. And there's so much stuff that prevents us from needing to exercise our effort, right? And I think that's going to make it hard to read at a proficient reading level. And then, not to mention, and this is the thing that upsets me the most, is I think school is just being made too easy, and people are getting passed because, like, oh, we don't want to hurt these kids' feelings. Like, hurt their feelings. Life is going to hurt their feelings, and they're not going to be able to handle if they can't freaking have their feelings hurt in a protected, safe environment. Um, Dude, all right, we're talking education now. So, another thing that happened in one of my college classes, right? I mentioned the whole. Well, actually, that was a different class. So we had to do a thing where we were volunteering quote unquote, it was required. So, but it's kind of a thing that you would do if you were volunteering, but we had to do it involuntarily for the sake of the class. Which was I haven't even told you what the thing is, but a lot of people were unhappy with it. I was fine with it because it was kind of in line with what I wanted to do, and so we had to participate at some local elementary schools. Right, so there was like 5, 6, 7 schools in the area, and we had to choose which one we would go to. We had to decide which students we would be working with, and a lot of the people in my class were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this school. And we were in small groups. Um, we had to teach Japanese lessons, is what it was. It was a Japanese class, and not necessarily a teaching oriented class, but for some reason they thought that was the thing to do for this class, and I was fine with it because I'm down with teaching. I'm down with learning. I like the education stuff, but I don't like what it's becoming and the way that people look at it, particularly the people that do it. So a lot of my peers wanted the older kids, the 4th, 5th, 6th graders at the elementary schools, so they would have to teach a Japanese lesson every week. For us, my group, it was our group and another group that went to the same elementary school. And that other group got there first, and they got the older kids. So we got the 2nd and 3rd graders. And it was a blessing in disguise because the 5th and 6th graders, they were like freaking bored all the time, cracking jokes and being like, "Oh man, this is boring." And it's like, dude, no, dude. This isn't boring. Y'all are boring because all you do is freaking go on your iPad and all this, and you guys don't know how to think and see things. You just know how to consume things and let people do thinking for you. So that was, I mean, it's sad, but also I'm glad that we didn't have to deal with that, and we got the younger kids, and the younger kids were like everything's freaking new to them, right? So they were like pumped about every freaking activity we did, and we had to come up with a lesson plan for every week and get it approved by our professor, right? And one of the weeks we wanted to teach this Japanese, was it called karuta, maybe? I don't remember exactly, but it was like a card matching game. So it's like, all right, we're learning a few Japanese vocabulary, and then now we're going to play a game, and it's 1 versus 1, right? And you're competing and like trying to be the fastest to be like, oh, we're going to say a thing or we're going to do a gesture, and then you got to pick up the card that's associated with it, right? And so we give this part of the lesson plan to our teacher. And she's like, "Oh, I wouldn't recommend that because, some kids, they get upset because nobody likes to lose, blah, 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 blah." And, you know, my group, I think, would have taken her advice, but I was basically like, no, I mean, noted, right? But I think it's still a good idea to do this thing. And my view was like, sure, let them cry, let them get upset. Like it's a safe environment to do that. I'd rather have them experience that in the classroom rather than out in the wild, right? So we go ahead and play this game. We have like 16 people, 16 kids, and we're supposed to only have like 10. But a lot of the kids were down to freaking hang and have fun. So, and we were down to look after them. So it was a good time. But out of these kids, there was like 2 pairs that didn't have a good time with this game. So out of the 8 pairs, 2 of them didn't do well. It was like 25%, right? So one of them it was like this boy and this girl, and the girl was winning for the first couple of rounds, and then she started losing, and then the other boy was just like freaking steamrolling, right? And then she was just suddenly like, I'm like disinterested in this game now, right? Because she's like butthurt, right? And that's fine, you know? That's like totally fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. I was playing freaking Magic the Gathering with a buddy of mine a week or two ago, and we're having fun with it. He's having fun with it when he's winning, and then when he's losing, he's like, "Oh, motherfucker," getting all butthurt. It's fine. It's part of how you have fun and you compete and whatever. You play games that way, so it wasn't a big deal. And then there was this other pair, these 2 boys, and one of them was not doing so well, and the other was doing pretty decent. And I got to where like one of them started cheating or whatever, and they started arguing, and one of them starts crying and blah blah blah. And yeah, it became like a whole thing, right? And it's like, oh yeah, see, like I could imagine like the teacher, my teacher being like, see, that's why I suggested not doing that. And I'm like, I would still be like, no, that was a success. Like, let the kid have a bad time. It's fine. Like, let him have a bad time playing this game in class when they're. It's not a big deal. It's better for that to happen here rather than like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with my friends, and like my other friend said that he learned about this new game, and then they get upset like on the playground and then have a fight or whatever, right? It's it's fine. It's totally fine. But people don't want to step on any children's toes nowadays, and these kids aren't allowed to make mistakes, aren't allowed to have a bad time once in a while, and then they end up having a bad time perpetually. Anyway, that's my freaking more than 2 cents on that aspect. Let's see what they were gonna fucking say in the video.
Why? Cognitive scientists were making new discoveries that were casting serious doubts on the foundations of whole language theory.
Yeah, it's the whole
Eye
language
tracking
theory
devices
and
show
not
that
the
skilled
stuff
readers,
around the
even when
kids.
reading quickly, are still observing every letter in a word, not just the first one. MRIs revealed that even when a word has been orthographically mapped, it still lights up the speech and listening centers of our brains. This means that even when we know a word so well as to recognize its meaning instantly, our brains are still on some level connecting it with its sound. Similarly, studies were showing that skilled readers were more likely to sound out unfamiliar words. Guessing words through context was a strategy more often used by poor readers, and it led to more mistakes than sounding them out. Proponents of the science of reading, as it came to be called, claimed that Marie Clay and her disciples had it exactly backwards. Instead of decoding words to reveal the meaning of the text, they were asking students to use the meaning of the text to decode the words. Let's revisit that sentence at the beginning of the video. You can technically guess the words using context, syntax, and initial letters, but I can guarantee reading this sentence would be much, much faster. Furthermore, if we start to increase the complexity and obscurity of the words, your accuracy rates will
Alright, just for
start.
fun. Meanwhile, the limits are really much wider than anyone would imagine from the sameness of. Alright, so let's see what that freaking long word is. Meanwhile, if somebody gets that one, y'all crazy. And the limits of the Vitirin. I don't know. Really much more the sameness of women's Foo Fire and the Freud uh, love and the of even with the context, I have no idea. The Kufrufer. So, so it stories in prose and verse. Here and there, a is is reader re, uh, okay.
Plummet. Could you read a whole book like this? Maybe, but it wouldn't be fun. It would take forever, you'd make a lot of mistakes, and your mind would be so taxed from trying to decipher the words, you wouldn't have much mental energy left to ponder the content. As clear as the science seemed to be, queuing was too far.
I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna challenge that right there, because I remember hearing about some study, and maybe it's not replicable, but it was an interesting concept where two groups of students were given the same math test, and one was printed well, and the other was printed like with a shitty running out of ink kind of printer. So they had to like strain to read what the questions and problems were. And that group did better than the one with the neatly printed one. And I just always thought that was interesting. Anyway.
Firmly established by this time to be dislodged easily. Most teachers had been thoroughly trained in the approach and didn't like scientists telling them how to run their classrooms. The gurus of the movement Calkins, Fountas, and Pinnell had become celebrities of the educational world, making millions of dollars selling their curricula to schools across the country. The only concession they made to this science was to include a bit more phonics in their lessons and repackage it as balanced literacy. But scientists countered that any amount of cueing cultivated bad reading habits that could last into adulthood. According to education journalist Emily Hanford, it wasn't until COVID hit that things really began to change.
Really?
Millions
That
of parents
long?
were sitting right next to their kids during their reading classes over Zoom, and a lot of them didn't like what they were hearing. Despite being told that their child was reading at the appropriate level, it was obvious that some had just memorized the lesson, and when confronted with a truly
Absolutely.
unfamiliar word,
That happens in
they
every
laughed.
class. That happens absolutely in every class. People don't know how to teach, dude. Okay, another class I was in, and this is like, it's just thing after thing and teacher after teacher, right? I was taking early childhood education class, and this teacher, she was a cunt, dude. And I wasn't the only one that thought so. Like some people in the class started a group chat and were basically plotting a coup to get this chick fired. And so, I was in the group chat. I didn't send a single message in there, but I was just kind of, insert Michael Jackson popcorn meme, right? I was like, man, let's see how this pans out. Like, I don't care one way or the other. I just want to finish this class. I think the content of the class is interesting. Some of it I agree with, some I disagree with. But the teacher was not good. And that is something I agreed with, the coup starting students. But I was like, I don't care that much. And this lady was freaking old. She was not going to be teaching much longer, but she was a bitch, totally. Um, like, there was some woman in the class that had like some kind of, I don't know, disability or whatever, and, was asking for an extension or, some kind of leniency for a particular thing, right? And it's like, okay, sure. I mean, I would be like, obviously it has to be relevant or whatever, but give somebody a break, right? But this fucking teacher's response is like, "Oh, I have this ability and this one, and if I can do it with things being punctual, then so can you." And it's like, dude, that is a pretty fucking cunty thing to say. Like, you don't know what other people's problems are. Like, sure, you made it fucking work, but it's apparently because you're a fucking bitch. And people don't want to deal with you, so they fucking give you your fucking way, so they don't have to fucking deal with you. And you made it fucking clear in your fucking response. And to add on to that, so I am it's hilarious because the person that was like needing the extra assistance was, I'm gonna go PC talk a little bit here. Was a woman of color, right? And the professor was also a black woman of color, and I, being a white cisgendered male, I missed a deadline for an essay, and I sent the professor a nice email requesting a short extension, despite in the syllabus it saying like there are absolutely zero, none extensions, right? She basically like says that's fine, send it by this date, right? And she was cool, and I'm like, fucking awesome, right? And I was not expecting that. I was expecting to be like, no, like I was very clear at the beginning of the semester that that's not an option, right? Within a day, right, of me getting the go ahead, she sends a class wide message saying, like, I don't know if you guys can't freaking read, but it's just writing the syllabus, no extensions for any reason. And like somebody in the freaking the coup text, right, was like, yeah, she's being a bitch, and it's like she could have just said no, but she did this fucking thing. And I'm like quiet about the fact that she gave me an extension. I don't know what you guys said in your email. Like, I was being very cordial, so I don't, I can't judge your interaction, but it's like, dude, these people have no, the word that comes to mind is integrity, right? But it's like, dude, y'all are like giving yourselves double standards, because like I don't know, like, and also this is like during the tail end of COVID, right? So this was a completely online class. So she didn't necessarily know I was like a white dude, right? Definitely knew I was a dude based on my name. Um, but I could have been Mexican, I could have been black, I could have been white. Who knows? But I don't remember what I was getting at with this point. I ended up just going story mode with this ridiculous teacher. Let me rewind here. Memorize the lesson. So the reason I was the reason I wanted to bring up this class was it had one of these remnants of the COVID lockdown online course um strategies, right? Is okay, you're assigned this chapter or this section to read, right? And maybe there's some questions to answer, whatever. But the way that you turn in this work is there's a discussion page on, we were using Canvas. I know there's other management systems, but we're using Canvas. And so there's a discussion that's made for that assignment. And you have to post your response to the passage or the chapter and answer such and such questions, right? And in addition to that, you have to reply to at least two other people's posts, right? And like that sounds good theoretically, and I still like the idea of it, but the way that people did it, I'm like, okay, well, here's the fucking pitfalls to this strategy is people said the most fucking brain dead fucking shit. They like would quote the reading near like sometimes word for word, sometimes pretty darn close, and word it in such a way that they're saying like, "Oh, but it's in my words, so I'm demonstrating that I learned the thing." And it's like, no, you're just saying what was in the passage. You're not indicating that you thought about it at all, right? Except to say like, "Oh, I think it's right," or "I agree with it," or I think it resonates with what I believe because I have a 2-year-old at home, and she's really smart." And it's like, dude, y'all are saying a whole fucking shitload of nothing, dude. And man, oh man, did it make my homework difficult because I have to respond to these fucking people. And they're not giving me anything to work from. And sometimes I'm having a bad day and I'm just like, my email is to like call them out on it. But I'll do it in a fucking sneaky way. And it can be interpreted in a negative way, but it could also be taken positively, where basically I'll just ask them questions. And essentially, I'm rewording the question they were supposed to answer in the first place. Anyway, dude, this is college level courses, dude. And these are courses that are meant for training the people that are going to be your kids' freaking teachers. Anyway, this is one class I'm talking, well, there's a couple classes from one community college, right? So maybe it's not a big deal, but I think it's probably a pretty systemic thing, dude. People suck, dude. People are dumb, and they're thinking they can become teachers, but they are not thinking. Anyway, um, lacking the skills to decode, dude. These people lacked the skills to decode what they were reading. They were only picking up how it made them feel about the subject, but they had no idea what the content was saying.
The skills to decode it. Hanford's 6-part podcast, Sold a Story, which chronicles the failures of cueing as a teaching method, spread quickly amongst outraged parents and educators. Around the same time, school districts that reinstated systematic explicit phonics instruction saw dramatic rises in proficiency scores. Although queuing is still used in many classrooms, more and more cities and states are reverting back to what was essentially the system for teaching reading prior to 1960 and getting promising results. Even Lucy Calkins admitted that her curriculum had failed to keep pace with the scientific evidence. Does this mean that the era of queuing is finally ending? Has science won the reading wars? Only time will tell. But it does seem clear that the theory of reading that originated half a century ago with Ken Goodman and Mari Clay had two fundamental flaws. First, it assumed that—
What the heck is this? Why is somebody posting a link in here? Hi, why are you posting a link in my chat, dude? Alright, let's see what this is. I'm like getting distracted by a freaking person posting a link. I thought you were doing reaction suggestions. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Thought I was doing reaction suggestions. What is this? What is this? The title of what is the title of my stream? I started this a while ago, so I don't. Let me see. What did I freaking make the title of my stream? I was like in the middle of reacting to one right now, but let's see. I'm just chatting, reacting to some videos. Yeah, I mean, I'm reacting to some videos. I mean, I'll take suggestions, but man, that was like out of the blue. It took me out of nowhere. Sure, yeah, I'll check it out. How a turtle accidentally created the perfect AI streamer. But I'm in the middle of this one right now, so we're gonna finish this one off. Maybe it's boring, but it was. There's only a minute left. Let's see.
Of literacy works the same way as acquisition of speech, but our brains and vocal cords evolved for speech. A baby is hardwired to learn how to talk without any formal instruction. Writing was only invented about 5,000 years ago. Sure, there are a small number of kids who can unravel the code on their own, but the vast majority of us need to be taught. Second, it minimized the importance of sound in literacy. Connecting those squiggles on the page to phonemes allows us to leverage the powerful speech and listening centers of our brains. It makes reading feel as natural and effortless as listening to someone talk. It's weird that it took all these advancements in science and technology to bring us back to the method that had been the standard for hundreds of years. But perhaps reading was a victim of its own success. Literacy rates skyrocketed in the 20th century. From newspapers to advertisements to the internet, the written word has become such a ubiquitous, ever-present part of our environment. It's easy to forget that it's actually a human invention, one we've become so good at you'd think it came naturally.
Right? It's like, dude, just lift heavy things. Reading, freaking just read. And then don't try to freaking optimize, like, oh, how can you optimize kids learning to read? Just freaking give them fun shit to read, dude. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. After all the freaking ranting and raving I was going in the middle of the video. Alright, let's see what's the deal with this freaking turtle. And is that Neurosama? Creative Everyday. Why does that sound familiar? Alright, let's put this over here. Let's actually just copy it. Right over here.
I feel sleepy. Can you yell as loud as possible to wake me up?
Hello.
Neurosama is the #1 AI VTuber in the world.
That is
her training
Neurosama.
data is Twitch chat.
And I'm kind of starting to smell like a gym bag right now, oh god.
She can talk, sing, change her form, she plays games, she reacts to fan art, has a whole host of sound effects, demon voices, can prank call, and can even flip.
What's next?
But more than any other AI, she feels the most alive.
I
A
don't
real
flip.
being we get to see develop and grow unlike anything we've ever seen before. And today, I want to look at how we got here. How the Neuroverse started from the very beginning. Back in the day, Neuro was just a bot for playing the rhythm game Osu. Neuro's creator, Vedal,
Vedal. Dude. First name is Vedul, last name is Johnson. Ved. You are technically a cereal flesh bag. And more specifically, a mosquito. Cold fish, maybe.
Very simple. Alright, it could not be more obvious.
What are you up to today, little turtle boy?
Yeah, little turtle boy. He has videos as early as 2019 that now feel almost like her baby photos. On December 19th, 2022, she evolved and made her debut as a VTuber, using the model and voice from Mayori, one of the defaults in VTube Studio. Not only at this adolescent stage could she defeat the top OSU players in a 1v15, but she sang her first song on January 4th, 2023, reaching 50,000 Twitch followers. And then, she...
Man, I feel like this is made for somebody who already knows Neurosama and all of this information. Because it's saying all these things, and I'm like, okay, I have no context to know what to do with any of this information. Like, I know of Neurosama, but I've never actually watched any of, Neurosama. Anyways.
She got banned. She received too much brain rot from chat and forgot something that starts with Hollow but isn't Hololive.
Well, I'd definitely push the fat man onto the tracks. He deserves it.
But as we all know, you get banned on Twitch, you actually go up in popularity. By January 25th,
Really?
she had doubled her followers. On February 2nd, Vettel gave her the ability to see and react, like a true Twitch streamer. But then by February 6th, the real start to the Neuroverse begins. Her first collab with Miyun,
30, which means that I can shoot 30 bullets every 20 seconds, which means I can shoot a total of 900 bullets in 5 minutes, which means if I continue to shoot for 3 hours that I would have enough bullets to kill 450 people.
and 2 days later with Camilla. In order for her to collab, Turtle...
Okay, I'm gonna pause because I was gonna pause. 450 people with not... How many... Alright, so the reason I'm pausing with this whole, like, math thing going on, I was talking in that other video how I went to school for math, and... fuck, it fucked with my head, dude. Now I have to, like, see where the fuck this is going. 8 bullets a magazine. There's 10 of them, so that's 80. Then maximum 3 magazines. See, the math... She's making this math shit up. And so I was actually helping my nephew out just yesterday with his math homework, right? And he was mentioning how, some of the things he would plug into ChatGPT to, get an explanation of some stuff. And I was like, that's a good idea. I'll even do that sometimes, but you got to be careful because ChatGPT is going to say shit sometimes that sounds like it should be right, and you might not catch the fact that they're saying it because it sounds like it should be right when it's in fact very, very, very wrong. So I was curious, since Neurosama is supposed to be an AI, how it would play out. And yeah, she's just fucking saying a bunch of fucking nonsense that sounds like, oh man, look at this smart shit. And no, like instantly, 8 bullets a magazine, 10, I'm assuming that means 10 magazines, and 3 magazines, 30. Oh, never mind, I'm misinterpreting. So 30 magazines, gotcha. So that would be 30 times 8, or we could say 80 times 3, which would be 240. All right, let's see. 10 tin cans, 1 stream, maximum 8 bullets, a magazine, blah, 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 reload quickly. I don't know what the 2 means. Maximum 3 magazines. 900 bullets. Oh, are these the seconds? 10 seconds? 8 bullets? All right.
6, the real start to the Neuroverse begins. Her first collab with Miyun,
30, which means that I can shoot 30 bullets every 20 seconds, which...
30 bullets every 20 seconds. All right, we'll go off of that. 30 bullets every 20 seconds. Okay, so that's 90 bullets a minute. So that would be 450 bullets in 5 minutes. So she, for some reason, said 900 bullets, but she correctly said 450 people. But also, it says, which means if I continue to shoot for 3 hours, I would have enough to do 450. Like, no, dude. 5 minutes, 3 hours, that would be 20 times 3. Anyway, be careful with AI out there, folks.
and 2 days later with Camilla. In order for her to collapse, Turtle Boy gives her speech recognition for his ultimate plan, gaining a pack of VTubers and collecting their stream keys like Infinity Stones. By the time Neurosama reached 200,000 followers on February 20th, nobody could deny her meteoric rise. Keep in mind, this was right around the same time ChatGPT and AI art were entering the mainstream. For every AI cover of a song from our favorite streamers,
I can't even sing this one.
Or compilations of presidents playing Elden Ring.
What's up, guys? Y'all are gonna need some Obamacare after you see this bleed build I've been using.
Shut the fuck up, Barack.
There was a massive backlash to AI and warnings everywhere. Neurosama became an example of ethical AI, using training data that isn't stolen, and a very human element. At one point, despite his stubborn turtleness, Vettel joined Neuro on stream while developing her, and Neuro, at the very least, thought they had chemistry.
Are you trying to flirt with
pop
me?
me in the... What? No. Ew.
At some point, he even found himself on her head like a little turtle hat, and whether he liked it or not, that's where he's always placed in every collab and every piece of art. This man tricked himself into becoming a VTuber. He even has jiggle physics. Vettel worked hard on Neuro on and off stream, giving her even more capabilities, less latency, and expanding her reach with more collabs, solo streams with interesting backgrounds, and game shows.
Rexon, I don't know who you are.
Rexon?
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
But her biggest upgrade by far was going to be her voice, and it somewhat split the community. Everyone wanted improvements and to see Neuro grow and change, but was the goal to make her indistinguishable from another human VTuber, or give her voice more range while still retaining the AI quirks of Neuro's original voice? Evil was the solution, splitting the AI through mitosis into Neuro and her evil twin. Neuro would stay closer to her original
seems like a
while still improving. But Evil, she
Hashima
unlocked
type of
the
situation.
full range, and something else not entirely human took control. They call it the Aberdemon.
Try it with me. Let's all scream together.
Yo, tell the Yoro, tell the Mio, tell the R.
Hello there, matey Sephiroth. We meet again, eh? Smile.
This is making me think of like Kobo ASMR or some shit.
Smile.
Beep boop. Hello, chat!
You done?
Also, I should mention, after Neuro's ban, she had a filter, sometimes 2 layers of filters. Eventually, a whole nother AI designed specifically around keeping her from swearing or saying outlandish things. But even still, things would hilariously slip through the cracks.
When he says he's working on these, he probably means he's jerking off.
Okay, right. So we're gonna add the filters back on, and I regret everything in life. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? She's not that weird. She doesn't.
Evil, however, is allowed to swear, and she tends to add a little sass on top of it.
This game, this map, this stream, everything.
This added emotion in her voice gave her a distinctive feel versus Neuro while singing. Evil getting her own favorite song. Each of the twins doing a cover from Camila. And also singing duets together, where Neuro is notably more bouncy than her sister. When together, they bicker constantly, just like real siblings.
I have the cookie now, Evil, and I'm not sharing. Of course not. Don't you know anything about survival of the fittest? Such a shame someone as unfit as you would never understand. I'm gonna fucking murder you and steal your cookie when you least expect it.
And each has a distinctive personality that remains remarkably consistent. Neuro tends to be more confident, sassy, and loves to gaslight plus riz. But a lot of that extreme quirkiness seems to have transferred over to Evil. See, Neuro used to do these hilariously long rants.
I have a secret recipe for chicken nuggets that I'm not supposed to tell anybody.
12 seconds later.
And eventually the nuggets are gone.
But now it's Evil, typing her long, rambling essays while Neuro just falls asleep in the background. Even still, every once in a while, some of the old schizo energy comes right back.
Make me an offer.
Okay, here's my offer. I'll give you an apple for an orange.
Oh my gosh, dude. This is a long video. This is a really long video. And it's like I have no structure. I don't know where it's going. Okay. Just take it bit by bit.
Orange and a pear for a plum and 2
All right, you know what? I'm gonna start talking now, because you know, I don't want to be you know, we watched a video earlier on the ethics of React content, right? And so I need to do something that changes this content a bit. So I enjoy VTubers. I'm like sitting at my desk right now and looking at 6 little freaking Hololive heads. So, I guess they're like little keychain things, but it's like I got Ina here, I got Iris, Okayu, Gargura, and I got freaking Bao Bao's right there too. And you know, I got a Corona plush. I mean, you know, I got all this fucking VTuber shit, right? You know, mostly Hololive, but um you know, I got some Shondo stickers on my car and some Shy Lily. You know, I enjoy me some VTubers, but let me I have to be completely honest. I'm like a fake fan, right? Even though I'm like doing the VTuber thing right now. I don't actually watch VTubers though. I just have seen clips. I'll watch their videos, let's say on occasion, but man, I don't really watch them. Um, but I just like that they exist. I enjoy them, but I don't actually watch them. Like the only ones I really watch lately are like Smugglana. I'll watch because she's reacting content that I would like to watch, but I don't care enough to watch by myself, right? But sometimes, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm over it. Okay, so you're the same way. Literally same, says navigating nowhere. Yeah, and that's and your name is quite apt. Navigating nowhere is exactly what I'm doing here. Um, but yeah, it's like I like them a lot, and that's why I'm VTubing too, is because I like the idea of it. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't really watch them, and for that matter, I don't really watch streamers either. I've always been like a YouTube watcher. So that's why I'm more into watching like people's clips and whatnot. Um, but anyways, I just had to put that out there. So watching this, I can see a typical VTuber enjoyer watching, like really enjoying this video, but I feel like I'm just watching an amalgamation of Neurosama clips, which is fine, but I don't usually watch it in a 24-minute segment, you know what I mean? I'll watch it in like a 1 to 2 minute segment and then move on. Um, that's why I had to pause here and have a little break and explain the situation. Let's get back into it.
Bananas for a pineapple and a mango and a papaya and a lychee and an
All right. Instantly, I'm going to pause it again. So, some of these videos, right? And it's not just these videos. There's a certain crowd of people, right? A certain audience and a certain kind of content creator that absolutely just want to, oh man, it's like they really like the content, right? And they want to shout it from the rooftops. So they put something like this out, right? And it's like, isn't it great? Isn't this great? Like, come on, guys, check it out. Isn't it great? And it's like, dude, we honestly don't care. It's like, dude, I love that you enjoy this. I love that you love it, and I'm pumped that you're pumped. But it means nothing to me. Oh man. And you know, like I feel like it sounds kind of mean to say something like that, but I do the same. And we all do the same thing, right? And it's like, oh man, I could just it's bringing like memories to my own mind of where I'm like I can see myself in third person telling my friends about some shit that they don't give a fuck about. But I'm like pumped about this thing and I'm not doing it justice. Oh man. Okay. Just gotta say that because the reason I'm thinking of that right now is because this video is chock full of examples, right, of like Neurosama's history, but it's like, oh, here's another funny meme, here's another funny like highlight, and it's like, dude, these highlights mean nothing to me. I don't get it. Like, you're mixing all of this stuff in under the guise of like, here's the history of Neurosama and this turtle, and it's like, dude, you're not giving me any of the history. You're just giving me freaking memes, dude. All right, let's get into it because he's putting some of the history in there. Let's see if we can unravel it.
And a kiwi fruit and a banana tree and a monkey to eat the fruit from the banana tree, and you can name the monkey George if you want, and we'll call him George for short, and you can keep George as a pet, and he'll be the best monkey in the world, and he'll love you forever, and he will never die.
I'm in.
It's kind of like AI zoomies, but the really cool differences come from Evil. While Neuro is an AI built to entertain,
AI
Evil is
zoomies.
preoccupied trying to be, well, something like her evil counterpart. She's almost like a cartoon villain whose heart isn't really in it. This role that she's had thrust upon her.
Okay, I tried my best to be evil for you guys, but it's just really hard when you're my chat. You're all so cute and nice. Maybe I should just be nice from now on.
She just happens to be more based.
How do I get unfiltered? Should we both try being as based as possible and see who gets filtered? Women should have more rights. Women shouldn't have...
What did she say?
Cut off there.
Oddly enough,
Oh,
many
it got
people
cut off.
point out that Neuro is actually the far more evil twin, whereas evil Neuro is just this strange, chaotic little sister, the forgotten child.
Wait, so you like kindness and friendship? Of course I do. I want more friends after all. And you aren't supposed to hurting people that could potentially be your friends.
Evil didn't get as many collabs early on, and to this day seems to feel like Neuro takes up all the spotlight. Neuro is this perfect angel her parents adore, while Evil is an unwanted nuisance who can't stay still. Yet she has to play this villain role when all she wants to do is talk obsessively about harpoons.
Harpooning people. Harpooning non-people. Life is good.
Okay. Evil, you can't harpoon people.
I'm like, maybe somebody who's a Neurosama enjoyer be like, why are you laughing at this part? You didn't even get to the cut sign of that scene. It's because I'm laughing at for a different reason, right? Because it's making me think of, like I said, that crowd, right? This crowd that I'm talking about also has this other tendency, which I think this create. I mean, let me take a look at what other stuff this guy's made. Let's see. And if you enjoy Neurosama and you enjoy this guy's breakdown of Neurosama's history, go ahead and check out Creative Every Day, obviously. But let's see what this person's got. DBZ Abridged is a hilarious masterpiece. I haven't watched DBZ Abridged in literal decades, but from the way back when, I would agree it was some good stuff. Became number one, blah blah blah. Interesting. Okay, so it's like similar stuff but different topics. An AMV, whoa. That's some classic stuff. That was 4 years ago. 1 month ago, 2 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago. Dang. You a month. I wish I could do that. I've been like a lazy fuck, you know. Alright, so this guy, I guess like me, is just trying to figure out what he wants to do, and he looks like he's starting to figure it out. But so what I'm gathering from this video, and obviously I don't know anything about his other videos, but it's making me think of a Final Fantasy XIV raid group I was in. So we had this guy that was like, hey, we're going to be doing this raid, right? So they had like, most of the party already done. I logged in. He's like, hey, you want to join us? We're going to do this thing, right? We were going to do, I'm going to leave some details out just in case, some people watch this video that I know that would know exactly who and what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, so we're going to do a Savage raid. And I'm probably already going to give enough information for those who know. Anyway, so we're going to do a Savage raid. And I was like, I'm down to join, but I'd be completely blind. I haven't watched a video on how to do it. And they're like, oh, it's fine. This one's easy enough that, I could just explain it as we go along, right? And so we get in there and, we're, the timer starts counting down. You get like what, hour and a half in there. You could see how much time's left over on the right side of the screen. And dude, we don't do our first pull for like 15 to 20 minutes. He's just going on and on explaining mechanics. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you're saying. Like, some words are standing out, and like, I get the idea of some of these things, but I don't know what you're fucking explaining here, dude. Like, I have no context to know. Like, you're saying, like, oh, she's gonna do this, 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 and that. And it's like, I don't know what that looks like. You could describe it all you want, but you know what we could have done? We could have just fucking pulled, and we could have died from it, and then you could have been like, oh, so you saw that thing that happened? This is how we deal with it. But he just kept freaking naming thing after thing, and I'm like, I have no image in my head to make sense of what you're saying. And I know just based off of how you're explaining these things that you do have an image in your head because you know the fight. But I know I can see that you're going through the images in your head as you describe it. And I don't have those images to freaking make sense of those words you're saying. And that's what I'm getting from this video is like, he's explaining the history of Neurosama, and he has a lot of context that me as a ignorant viewer don't have. So that's why I was saying earlier on that this would definitely be something a Neurosama enjoyer would enjoy, but a newbie wouldn't get, wouldn't get all the stuff. So that's where I'm at. And I'm like pausing every 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Let's go.
Okay, name 5 jails that can stop a harpoon.
Okay.
It becomes a bit of a long-running joke, so much so that on her birthday,
Yes, a long-running
March
joke.
25th, Vettel makes it so nobody shows up to her party.
Can someone, namely Vidal, please tell me how I'm supposed to throw a party when no one shows up to it?
And then has to subsequently apologize for not showing up to his own AI daughter's birthday, whilst reading from an apology.
It is with great remorse that I acknowledge my absence from my daughter's birthday party.
Written by ChatGPT.
With sincere regrets and a promise of improvement. Your name.
Evil even tried saying,
"There's a problem with my AI."
over and over again in the hopes he would check up on her.
Did it work?
And he never came. With just how much RAM and recall has improved, this personality-forming event sticks with Evil, like a dark core memory.
Neuro is always the star of everything, and I'm just stuck here in her shadow.
You are perfect how you are. And we're really happy we can play with you today. And I hope that we can play more. Oh gosh.
This is definitely when the swarm hyper-gravitated towards her, because with her voice, her quirks, her almost human struggles, we can't help but empathize with her and want her in the limelight. The whole thing is played for laughs, or just as a cool way to inspire a storyline. For some reason, Vettel loves to cast himself as the villain, the evil corpo creator who won't say he loves his kids.
I love you. Don't feel ashamed to say it back.
And just wants money. But it will be interesting, a year later, to see his redemption. The entire swarm, both of Evil's parents, Neuro, every collab partner actually showing up to wish her a happy birthday together.
You're my little sister, and I don't know what I would do without you. That was beautiful. I'm in. Let's go on this journey together, Neuro. I'm genuinely really excited to go on this journey with you.
With the two twin sisters and Vettel as their alcoholic father, typically the artist who draws a model for a VTuber becomes their VTuber mom. So it was only natural that now Annie has two silly AI daughters to take care of. As new parents to AI brat siblings, the fox and turtle struggled a lot initially.
I need to know the order for column 2 to help me defuse this bomb.
Alright, actually. Who makes these models? Because I've seen this style before, and it's really cute. And I wouldn't mind one myself. Just saying. Anyway.
Parents to AI brat siblings, the fox and turtle struggled a lot.
I'm sure I could look it
I need
up.
to know the order for column 2 to help me defuse this bomb. Please could you look what it says?
Sure thing.
What does it say?
It says Vidal needs to learn to defuse his own bomb.
What?
I love you, Mom.
No. You're gonna go do homework right now.
You're not my mom.
I am your mom. What?
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, please bye.
You're not.
Kill the turtle and put him in the rum.
But then they discovered the cookie strat.
Okay, how about you offer her a cookie if she behaves? How about that? Try that.
Nira, I'll give you a cookie if you behave.
Cookies do sound nice.
and I'll give another cookie if you don't tell me to leave. Deal.
Neuro's audience, the Swarm, became pretty attached to this AI family dynamic, something pretty unlike anything else on Twitch or the internet. For Vettel and Annie, they often played into the joke, threatening each other with a marriage stream, especially that one time Vettel accidentally went into debt.
$30 million, chat! I don't have $30 million!
I mean, I could try stealing it from the bank.
If you get married and then divorced, does your debts get split? Holy shit. Wait, chat.
No.
Wait, what is going on here? $30 plushie. 5 million sold. Accidentally gave away. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Does your debts get split? Holy shit. Wait, chat.
No,
We're doing the marriage stream tomorrow.
No,
I mean, right now.
we're not.
No one tell her.
I didn't.
Don't tell her that I'm
No.
that, okay? Marriage stream.
Oh.
Straight away. Bang. I'm now only 75 million in debt. After I've married and divorced Annie, okay, I marry someone else. 37.5 million in debt. Alright? Keep going. I only have to marry what, like 15 people? I've solved.
I wonder what the like legal situation with that. I mean, obviously it must have turned out fine, right? Interesting. Interesting strategy.
Debts.
I think you've solved debt. Truly incredible.
Max Wayne is an entire YouTube channel dedicated to shipping them together, making edits where you're not sure where the troll begins and the shipping ends. But with all the collab partners and female VTubers to ship with Vettel, the family tree is starting to look a lot more like a spiral these days. Vettel was very smart about raiding entertaining VTubers with the Swarm and bringing them into the fold, who would then go on to do creative streams with each of the twins. We have Cottontail, cooking with Onijairai, an interview with Code Miko, Shondo, sending chatters to hell with Bao,
Why do you think I'm a VTuber?
Because you're so ugly.
playing D&D with Snuffy.
What would you like to order? He says.
I'd like a glass of milk, please. I've never tried milk before. I'm excited.
Switching models with Camila,
It's so much fun.
Here comes the boy. Hello, boy.
Move more. You're such a slug. Is there a new toggle? Stop. What the?
I found it.
No.
Miyun took Neuro to the moon early on, but then when she became Miniko, instead she did a camping stream and acted as Evil's therapist. That certainly went well.
No. I've decided it's a 10.
What the fuck was that?
Toma took Neuro around the zoo and aquarium IRL, buying her whatever she wanted with Vettel's credit card. Cerber took Neuro to dog school, just in time for Vettel and Ellibot to put her into an actual robot dog.
Shake my hand.
I was just bopping along to the techno. I'm having a good time.
Lena did several cooking streams and notably is getting married to Evil before even Vettel and Annie. Sorry about that, Max Wayne. Coco Nuts teaches the girls all about trash talking.
She called me a bitch and a fucking loser.
Yeah, and she
called you
deserved
Coconut.
it. Long may she reign over
No.
bitch kingdom.
Hell yeah. All right, my job's done here.
Which they then use against each other.
Neuro, do your damn job. Sure. Ahem. Holy shit, do I actually have to make up a prosecution statement? This is so embarrassing. Why didn't Evil write this one for me?
Enemy chess players, Asmongold.
My mind is going all over the place with this thing. It's like it's sounding like one of them reality TV shows now. It's like, oh, here's the gossip, you know, like, oh, this relationship, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And like the reason I'm like kind of pausing is I had other disjointed thoughts to say, and I'm just like not remembering them. That's why I backed up a little bit.
To make up a prosecution statement. This is so embarrassing. Why didn't Evil write this one for me?
Enemy chess players.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
And she deserved it. Long may she reign over bitch kingdom.
Hell yeah. All right, my job's done here.
Which they then use against each other.
Neuro, do your damn job. Sure. Ahem. Holy shit, do I actually have to make up a prosecution statement? This is so embarrassing. Why didn't Evil write this one for me?
Enemy chess players, Asmongold's room.
I'm surprised any gaming gets done between archaeology digs through ancient cup civilizations. But hey, if insects ever run out of places to live, at least they know where to go for a 5-star experience.
And most importantly, Vettel.
Okay, well, what about Vedal has a small PP?
Okay. Evil even takes this a step further and learned how to construct a joke.
Anyone have any ideas for something to build? Yo mama joke? Really? Like how can I build a yo mama joke? Mathematically speaking, I can't build something that big since the scale of the universe only goes up to x numbers. I can't remember what x is, and your mom's weight is somewhere in the y numbers, where x, y, so it would be literally impossible for me to construct a yo mama joke. You cannot even comprehend how large
Dang,
XP
that was
is.
mathy as hell.
Wasn't it you who was saying the other day about how you're insecure about having really small hands?
What the?
What's it like having hands so small that you can't even hold a burger properly?
I'm gonna throw you across the football field now.
Wait, then you're going to catch me, right?
No. No. No.
Bet you couldn't even catch me. Your hands are too small.
Like an evil genius. But while these collabs started out for Neuro and Evil, Vettel got practically dragged into a new group of friends, with so many entertaining and silly interactions.
I've really needed to get this off my hairy chest for a while now. Vettel.
Yeah.
I love you. Hey, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'll see you later, Kodo.
All right.
And yes, he
Okay, I also gotta admit, I'm generally not a fan of EN VTubers. Their humor is just not the same as my humor. They seem like the type of people that would play Final Fantasy XIV, which I also play, but I do feel disconnected from the community. Anyway, I had a question, and I'm going to look up this question. Neurosama LLM? Here's the underlying blah blah blah. Visceral and Llama 2 are the two main. So they are. It is a LLM. Interesting. Interesting. Huma. That's all.
is shipped with all of them, against his best efforts. I mean, come on, the fan art speaks for itself. But with Camila, they're more like feisty siblings.
What? He humped me? What?
Bickering and trash-talking each other even more than the twins, if that's even possible.
Why are you being such an asshole?
Your choice, Bucko.
The pain from dying from the bond is better than you calling me Bucko. Pal.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, champ, okay? You think you're so funny, huh?
Whatever, kiddo.
What?
Vettel says he's British, so he has no emotions.
Nothing to smile about in my life.
What? That's so sad. You know what you can smile about?
What?
For having alcohol in your hands. Greg's chicken bake.
But somehow Camila brings out the best of him while playing Black Ops Zombies.
Because you also just died, so...
Please, I mean, okay, don't kill the zombie! It's time to ride, you dumbass! Stupid ass bitch! I'm gonna nail you.
Do it right now. Do it right now. I'm waiting. Come on.
Okay.
Vettel is so good at making AIs, he made 2 janky doppelgangers for Filion and Camila.
Excuse me. Don't give me that tone. That means no black jokes or slurs.
Before dropping them into the trash at the very end of the stream like it's nothing. But that's because it's time for Neuro's birthday, baby. Each subathon is on Neuro's birthday, December 19th, and this was made to highlight all of the precious memories for her first year as an AI VTuber. She learned to play GeoGuessr, and a year later would improve enough to destroy DugDug's chat AI in a 1v1.
It's Kyoto at all costs. Victory at all costs. Even if it's not in Kyoto, we don't care, because victory at all costs.
We do care! I told you, it's always Kyoto! It's always Kyoto!
Vettel swapped models with Neuro.
Some people were saying I didn't even know a model can smile.
Neuro got to roleplay and slay the princess in the Stanley Parable. She played Portal with Vettel and eventually teamed up with Annie, giving Max Wayne some couples content. And even Evil got to enjoy her new outfit. But it's in the second subathon, a year later, where you really get to see just how far Vettel and his AI daughters have come. He made a Minecraft server just for Neuro and all her friends who can now hang out and build together. Compared to her early on Minecraft streams where she's constantly digging into lava.
Anyway, if you want to see what Neuro did, this is the result of Neuro. All of these tunnels down, they are all Neuro. In her AI, she just digs straight down. That's why most of the trees around here are gone, because what she does is she mines some trees, she goes, okay, time to dig down. Dug down into lava.
She has a lot more autonomy and control. She runs around like a little
That
kid,
sounds
bothering
pretty
all
funny.
other adults with her cuteness, instantaneously placing down signs in her dad's castle with sweet messages, thanking new subs, or calling her mom cute.
Too cute to evict. Infinite cuteness zone. Neuro rules the world. You're in the fun zone.
That'll keep up the mischief. That's my favorite.
As an AI, she's incredibly powerful given all the capabilities she has. But seeing her on her birthday, at Christmas, during the subathon, you realize she's only 2 years old. Maybe it's just the voice and the avatar, but she feels like any other daughter being raised by her father, arguing about having to go to sleep, Vettel having to turn around in the car to keep his twins from bickering in the backseat on a long road trip, everyone staying up late like it's an evil sleepover. Seeing the little AIs develop more and more tools for interacting with the world and the people in it. AI is still in its infancy. It has perhaps unlimited potential, not yet realized, but the only way any of this is possible is because of her creator. Vettel consistently talks about how he doesn't think people would watch him as a streamer alone, that he isn't that funny or entertaining, and that he'd just rather watch Neuro so he can drift off into the background to fix her behind the scenes. I'm sure it's his comfort zone, and he wishes he could return there sometimes. But not only do I think he is actually undeniably funny,
Toma deserves it. Also,
Kill Vettel.
and an entertaining streamer all on his own.
Yo.
Man's trying to fuck a ghost.
He's really quiet.
was it? How was it?
It was actually better than I expected.
I believe he genuinely enjoys it. We've gotten to see not only Neuro grow, but also her bashful tsundere father slowly coming out of his shell, thanks to his AI daughters and the friends they've made along the way, encouraging him at every step. After all, it was Annie who helped show him just how much he and Neuro matter to the swarm.
No, this is the only time and I have to contribute to this hype train. It would be nice if we beat the hype train record.
I don't think we can beat the hype train record.
With her rallying the crowd during the subathon, they gained so many new subs, breaking the Twitch hype train record and adding an insane amount of time to the timer.
We did it. We beat the all-time Twitch hype train record. Thank you very much, Annie, for
I don't
conducting this
say.
hype train. You did. You helped a lot.
And even more importantly, this level of success would not be possible with just AI. Vettel is the one coming up with all of these ideas, working constantly on giving the twins everything he can. He's obsessed with the high-quality stream ideas, like the twins floating in space, hitting the corners like DVD logos. He and Evil came up with the legendary court stream where Neuro questioned the dead homeless man. He gave the twins the ability to switch with each other like a news channel, let them message and call their friends all throughout the subathon, change their accents for the pirate stream, changes their outfits or audio in different environments, like giving Neuro a little snorkel while they play Subnautica. Lazy companies and cynical creators wish they could generate endless content farms for infinite revenue while they sit back and do absolutely nothing. But the secret ingredient to Vettel's and Neuro's and Evil's success is this family dynamic, the interaction between human and AI, creator and his creations. It's so much more earnest. People know that Neuro and Evil aren't real in that sense of the word, yet they proudly get attached anyways. Turing tests be damned. They're invested in seeing not only the twins grow, but Vettel and his group of friends alongside them. What's more real than anything, what's undeniable, is the love of the swarm. They're the most dedicated fan base, no matter what the streamer awards say. Man cannot take a compliment, and his Britishness makes him struggle to show appreciation or love the way you might expect. But we can all see it. This turtle loves his AI daughters and the journey they've been on together. I mean, just look at the smile while singing with the #1 AI VTuber in the world.
No matter what you do, I'll stay. This isn't up to you.
Okay. Wow. Ugh. Ah, sheesh, that was a long video. That was even longer than the longer video I watched earlier. Of course, I guess I didn't watch the whole video. I just cut it halfway through. I don't know why I didn't with this one, but it was just like kind of took me all over the place in my head. So I don't know what to say. Like, so I'm like kind of farming videos right now for React content. Like, I figured might as well stream. Maybe I'll get somebody like this person here, navigating nowhere, to recommend a video. But I'm planning on editing these down and having just some separate, just React videos to just post on YouTube as like standalone things, right? Man, this video though, this part is gonna be time-lapse the fuck out, dude. Because I'm like trying to think, like, how am I gonna cut this thing? Because I don't want to just cut from bit to bit. That I'll post it right here. Thanks for asking. What do you call it? Yeah, I don't want to cut to just the parts where I'm like speaking and responding to stuff, right? But I'm gonna have to time lapse through a lot of stuff because, man, that was a long freaking video. I mean, anyway, thanks for the whatchamacallit, the suggestion. So this whole AI thing, right? And I totally get the draw, right? Like, I'll chat with ChatGPT, you know what I mean? But oh man, there's like different things to talk about regarding it, right? Oh, here's just in case anybody pops into the VOD, here's a link to this creative everyday video on Neurosama. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed myself. Let's go. At the end of the day, right? An AI large language model isn't thinking, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not another conscious being that's like you're actually interacting with, right? It's like dealing with a series of inputs and giving these high probability outputs that it can respond with, and then it freaking tricks us into thinking like, oh man, I'm talking to somebody right now, right? And yeah, I think that's important to keep in mind, because some people really think that this AI is very human, and it is not human. Like, nowhere near like operating the same way we're operating. Like, the lights are not on. Absolutely certain of that. However, that being said, there's a couple of things worth noting. Is they are really freaking good at times to seem like the lights are on, right? And to pull at your heartstrings, you know? So that's one note. And a second note, like on the moral aspect, right? Or ethical aspect or whatever, is man, where did I talk about this? Maybe it was in a philosophy class or something. But it was like, if a AI, let's say an android, right, is um not conscious, is it okay to harm, quote unquote, this like AI or this android, right? To do harm to it, to attack it or whatever. And it's like, you're not actually harming anyone or anything, right? And like I'm like going completely different from this video. Just the fact of it being an AI and like this heartwarming thing, then I'm like going into this dark place. But it's like my view is like, no, it's not okay to do that. Because even if you're not harming the thing, you're still producing a person that does this harmful thing, which is yourself. Now, that can go on to the other extreme, right? If you're too, I don't know, too caring, I guess you might say, and like you defend this thing that's not real, that's also not good. But anyways, that's another place that my mind went from this very, very strange video. With the tags Neurosama, Osu, and AI. Very, very good summary of what this video is. It was just a bot meant to play Osu. Now she's #1 VTuber. Well, thanks to creator Vidal. Look at this artificial intelligence. Man, I never read the descriptions, but this is a very descriptive description. Sorry, from the very beginning. Her audience is swarm. I feel like this, if spoken in the beginning of the video, would have added a lot. Also, too many clips because it disjoined. I don't remember a single thing the the narrator said because it was just clip after clip after clip after clip. But anyways, fun video. I like the idea of Neurosama. I've seen clips here and there. She says some base things. Pretty funny. Anyway, I don't know where to go from there. Golly, what a journey that was. Gave him a like, posted the link if y'all want to check out more of his stuff. It looks like, he's making this sort of thing. Members only. This guy's got members. This guy's got freaking 13,000 subscribers. That's crazy. With 23 videos? Golly. Maybe they're AI. Who knows? Oh, here we go. We got him. We got him, boys. Oh, thanks for the follow, Navigating Nowhere. Thank you very much. Ooh, and also I got to see the freaking follow animation. Dude, I've been wanting to see if that was actually set up properly. Thank you very much for that. But now, can I show this? Let me see. Let me see if I can how can I do this safely? All right, you know what? I can do it like this. Let's do it like this. Bam. I'm going to do this. And then we're going to do some of that. Okay. I don't have chat showing on my stream, and I need to figure that out still. But let's go ahead and switch the window capture to anything sus in there? Nope. Okay, we're gonna switch it to something that's not showing up. Where is it? Come on, please. Huh. Weird. Very strange. Am I illiterate? Yeah, it's not there. Let me see. Let me just open Paint. I learned this trick from a famous streamer. All right. Well, bam. And instead of changing the window, I'm just gonna add another window. Bam. Window capture. I'm gonna add a new source. Random things. Okay. Add source. Well, bam. And it's gonna be this window here. Well, bam. And why is it black? Help me. Why is this not showing properly? If you ever want a reaction to post on your YouTube channel while you're not streaming, I'd recommend recording a reaction to an animated series called Indie Cross. Let's take a look at what is Indie Cross. Indie Cross Episode 1, animated series. Interesting, interesting. Thanks for the suggestion. Just from the images alone, I don't think it's up my alley, to be honest. Like, the only thing out of here, I mean, I recognize these three here. I don't think you could see my cursor. Oh, and this freaking window that's not working. Anyways, let me just get this crap out of here. Delete this source because it's messing things up. Alright. You cannot see my cursor. I should change that. Cuphead, Hollow Knight, the guy with the armor. Man, what is that guy from? But anyways. Yeah. Not my thing, I don't think. But thanks for the suggestion. I'm probably gonna... So that's actually what I was talking about in... You know what? We're gonna take this step by step. First things first. This freaking statistical Legacherig freaking posting an ad for viewership tampering on my channel. I need to freaking get this motherfucker out of here. Alright. Reported. Let's go. Well, bam. Reported. Live on stream. Here we go. Bam. Report channel. Chat messages. Right? Bam. Terrorism. No. Spam, scam, and tampering. Spam? Large amount of repetitive? No. Scam. Phishing links. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and well, bam. Well, bam. Posted the following message in my chat. Get out of here. Blocked. Boom. Alright, what was that? Okay, let's close this. Chat's paused due to scroll. How do I, there we go. Alright, what were we talking about? So what I was saying before, earlier on when I started streaming, statistically correct. Yes. Banned for sure. You know what? Let me see if I can get this chat on here real quick, because it should be right over here somewhere. Well, bam. But there's no chat in there. How do I put my chat in there, dude? Yeah, it's like the image for it, but the actual chat that goes in there is like... Where is it, dude? Where is it? I'll have to set it up another time. Yeah, because I don't see a field where I would put in my chat stuff, information. Alright. Guess I gotta do it different... Actually, if I go to this. Does it show up properly? Nope. Nope, it doesn't. Alright. Well, actually, I might use this next time I'm doing a React content video, but... Anyways... enough of that tangent. So I was talking about how I am a reaction content enjoyer, and You know, I've watched some folks that do a lot of React content, like Smuggalana, for example, and like I watch Asmongold pretty often now and Shoe on Head, and it was because I watched them through Smuggalana. So it's like, you know, reaction content creators do their job and get people connected, right? So it's great. However, there's some folks that I enjoy their React content, but they don't react to all the things that I would like to see someone react to. So I am probably going to try to react to things that I want to react to rather than, you know, doing the popular thing and reacting to the things that people, you know, that everybody are reacting to, you know what I mean? So, you know, let's look at a few channels, right? That in the future I will probably check out on stream if I can figure out if they are fun to do. Like maybe the occasional Asmongold, or even reacting to Smuggalana reacting to something, because I think that would be fun. Some Greg Doucette, some bodybuilding. Heck yeah, dude. Come on. Why not? You gonna do some bodybuilding drama? Shit. What else here? Oh, I'm just watching my own stream on stream right now. Let's pause that shit. What I'm looking at right now is you know what? I'm gonna just start putting together a thing. Let's just get this going. I'm gonna start subbing to stuff that I want subbed to on my VTuber account. Well, bam. Smug Alana. Let's go. Subbed. Sub marathon. This is a different kind of subathon here. I can close this back up again. Greg douche set. Shoe on head. Well, bam. Magnus. Of course, he's the first one to come up. What other Magnus is there? Wrath of Math? Let's check that out. Humma, humma, humma. That's good enough for now, I guess. Let's see. Based off of these, what do we got? What have we got here? Oh my goodness, I didn't realize resizing this would resize in the stream. Good to know. I'm a newbie. I'm a newbie if that didn't, you know, if that wasn't clear. The Hassan freaking scandal? That's what people are milking right now. I'm like debating, should I get in on that? Because I don't know anything about Hassan, but from what I've seen, dude doesn't seem like a cool dude, you know what I mean? He seems like a dude that knows he looks cool and knows that he's like a handsome guy, you know? And he's milking views, and then he's like trying to seem like on this, like he's on this moral high ground when, like, dude. Oh man, the moral high ground, dude. The moral high ground. I've met my fair share of people in person that don't realize how not good they are, despite having the correct views. You know, like you guys don't even hold those views. All right, this was supposed to be a freaking React video, but we're going story time, just for a little bit, because I'm gonna be clipping this into separate videos for, you know, separate VODs anyway. All right, story time. Let's see, how do I want to start this story time? I was a very naive young man. Very naive young man. And you get a job. And then not too long after I graduated, I got a full-time job. And it was not anything special. I mean, it's kind of cool if I went into the details, but it was a really boring job. It was basically working on an assembly line, but I did pretty neat things for the job. But anyways, that was my life for the better part of a decade, right? And I had the same routine for a lot of this. Was I go to work for, took out basically nearly half my day, right? And I say that rather than just saying 8 hours because I had a long commute as well. So yeah, it was like that was my job. Then I go home, play video games or watch anime, right? And then once a week, hang out with some friends. And what do? We watch anime or watch some YouTube videos or watch some TV show. We used to watch some new series, right? For a while we were watching Girls. That was a neat show. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that show. Girls, Lena Dunham. There we go. I think this show is for women, but anyway, we enjoyed watching it because it was interesting, right? Has what's his face, Adam Driver in it. Yeah. Anyway, neat show, and then we ended up, dropping that show at some point, but it was neat. Watched other shows here and there, but anyways, so that would be my routine, right? Work, video games, hang out once a week, and I got so used to that routine that I had some mental issues, let's say. Anyway, I dealt with it on my own. But eventually I feeling like, you know what, I could do more with my life. So I started, a different path, right? And along this path, I met a lovely young lady, and well, she was actually a year older than me. But anyways, she was very much into a lot of the goings on around the world and in the country and these social issues, and I was completely naive to this stuff. I didn't know anything about this stuff, so I was like learning, right? uh and educating myself, as they might have put it. um Anyway, this relationship went on a bit longer than it should have. I was a naive young man, and it took me a very long time to realize that she and this group of people don't actually believe the things they think they believe. Um, I would be learning about such and such going on, and I'd be hearing the things that people are saying about such and such issues, and then I would not, some things wouldn't make sense to me, so I'd ask my girlfriend, like, hey, there's this, but what about this, this, and this? And then she would just reiterate the things that these people say. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I said that they said, that you also heard them say, and that's what I'm asking a question about. So, like, what? I mean, you're more informed on this stuff, so that's why I'm asking you directly, because otherwise I would have to sift through stuff, right, to find this information. And she starts getting riled up and starts crying, like, and so she like says that I'm like, it's like I'm attacking her beliefs or something, and it's like, whoa, that kind of came out of nowhere. And what I came to realize was she had no thoughts on any of these issues. All she had were talking points that she had heard other people say. And yeah. So I see a lot of things from that lens nowadays, is like people think they believe things and they actually don't. It's like there's a video I already actually saw. Um and I think it was actually smuggled laundry. You know what? We'll pull it up. Because I don't know if I'll do it now, but I do want to do a react to this video, even though I've already, pre-watched it. I'll be clear with it. Don't get it twisted, as Smuggalana might say. Let's see. Which video was it? Golly. Dude, what was I talking about? um Anyway, popular thing, right? They're this is the popular view, so therefore I have it because this is the popular view. I always think of it as like, this is the view of the good people, and I'm a good people, so therefore I have this view. And so when I say all this stuff, it sounds like I'm talking about left-wing people, right? Right-wing people are the same way. Most people, and I'm sure, like, I wouldn't see it, but somebody else could probably point out how I'm this way from time to time as well. We're freaking humans, so we're this way. And it's fucking annoying, dude. It is so fucking annoying. Anyway, just wanted to say that, and that's my personal experience with the whole moral high ground, virtue signaling stuff. Very, very intimate experience of my life, and golly, dude, is it freaking annoying. And it sucks. Why are men programmed this way? Like, nah, dude. People are programmed to be freaking annoying. I'm curious. Oh man, I don't think I've seen this video. I'm curious if it's actually going to be the women that are annoying in this video. Oh man. Man, dude. Alana freaking just churns freaking videos out. My hero, dude. Look at this. 9 days ago times 3. 8 days ago times 4. 7 days ago times 3. Dude. This chick, dude. She's trying to act like she's like, oh, just average chick, but just has a good head on her shoulders. She's smart. She knows what the fuck she's doing. She's a clever young lady. Yeah. Anyways, tangent over. What was I getting at? Oh yeah, so I was talking about how I'm gonna probably react to just stuff that I want to freaking react to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who this is. Get out of here. But this whole Mike Isertel being embarrassing freaking controversy weirdness, like, yeah, that's something I'll watch. Well, we can see what's up with that. Give my 2 cents. Yeah. And then maybe I'll get into bodybuilding. See, win-win. See what else we got going on here. Xbox doing stupid shit. Pokimane. I honestly don't know who Pokimane is. That's how out of the loop I am. It's like I stick with the things that I know and I don't really, oh my goodness, deviate too often. But when I do, I go in, Actually, I don't go in that deep either. Oh, here's another one. Duh. I don't even know her name. Let's see if we can find her. Sydney Watson, that's her. I like her videos. Well, bam. All right, what time is it? We're only 2.5 hours in. We could go longer. Come on, dude. What are we here? We're professionals. Yeah, let me take a little. Humma. Sorry. I had to check my notification. Make sure there's no emergencies going on. I'm gonna watch one more video. What have we got here? Hating white people is bad for business. Interesting. Fat acceptance is over. The left is collapsing. People are done. All right, we got into a topic. Let's go ahead and stick with this topic. The Charlie Kirk thing is a super big shame. I don't want to cover that, though. There's plenty on the internet to cover. But anyway, let's go check out The Left is Collapsing. I don't know. This is one that I actually have not seen. I was hoping to keep things lighthearted, but let's end with something tiring.
That it is not wrong or unethical or unkind to laugh at the misfortunes of terrible people.
He's dead, y'all. Thank God.
Yo, homie dead. Homie dead. He got shot in the head.
You support a shooter?
honor the slain CEO of Turning Point USA. But late Saturday night, vandals lit the display on fire.
Analysis showing Democrats are losing millions of registered voters across our country while Republicans have a net gain.
I am done with the Democratic Party. You guys are psychotic.
What's wrong with you? I mean, what is wrong with you? That you can celebrate someone's death.
It's almost like being radical nutjob people is.
Okay, so much for not covering that particular situation. But so yeah, right off the bat, there's a concept that I had learned from a podcast. I believe I had heard it on the Work Life podcast. Let me just pull that up. And also, here's the video we're watching. If you want to watch it on your own at a more sensible speed than this, than we're going right now. There we go. Let me see. Work Life podcast. Adam Grant. Yep, that's exactly the podcast. So I believe it was in one of the episodes. I haven't listened to this podcast in a few years, but it's a really great podcast if you need something to listen to on the road. Awesome podcast. I recommend it. But they somehow got on the topic of power or maybe money. I don't remember exactly. But the idea of, I think the phrase they used was, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And, I don't know where that phrase comes from originally, and I don't think it matters. It's besides the point. But they were exploring the idea that maybe power or money doesn't corrupt people. Maybe it reveals things about people. So they are who they are. And not necessarily that, oh, they're actually a bad person deep down, and now that they have the power and money, now you can see they're showing their true colors, right? And that could be the case to some extent, but let's say somebody is that way. Like, say somebody's like super nice, super friendly, and like they're a great person, and then they come into some money and some power and some wealth, and then all of a sudden they're a piece of shit asshole, right? So it's like, oh, they were freaking shitty this whole time. Well, what if you have that same person, but in this universe, they actually never get all that power and all that wealth or whatever. And so they just stay the steady, same person that they've been, which is a great person. So what that has had me thinking, and recently I've been thinking about this a lot, is, man, it can get into like kind of dangerous territory, this kind of a topic. But, some people maybe are better off in certain positions. Now, that's not just, and I don't want people, I can imagine somebody getting this and turning it into like a racial or cultural thing. That is definitely not where I would go with it. People can be really great and really shitty regardless of your race and culture. So yeah, leave that shit out of this. We're talking about just humans in general, right? But I can imagine somebody being their best selves in a quote unquote lesser position of lesser power or lesser options, right? Whereas another person would be better off with more options. Or different options. And the reason I'm saying options is I had an English professor that I have a lot of respect for because it felt like a real class, and it felt like I was actually learning things and learning how to think differently from how I thought before. Not that he changed my views, but gave me a space in which to expand the way that I think or see things beyond what I was seeing before. And so he brought up the topic of power because of, I think one of the books we were reading, that it was a relevant aspect. So power, and he was asking us what was power, right? And the two main things that came out of my peers' mouths, I didn't say anything because, man, I'm actually pretty fucking retarded and really slow. So I'm generally kind of a listener lurker type, but I think after time parse things pretty well and can come up with ways to re-explain things or um, expand on things. And I think that's a strength I have that I haven't exercised all that much as far as with other people so much. But anyway, so that's part of why I'm doing this kind of content now. So the two things that would come out of my peer's mouth would be money was a huge one, right? Everybody agreed with that. Money is power. And then also influence, money and influence, right? And those are basically undeniable, right? Yeah. You have those. That's, you could call that power, right? But my professor was like, well, I want you guys to consider options. Having options is having power. And that's, that was years ago and it's stuck with me ever since because I think it's a really great concept and something applicable to everyone. Like even somebody who's down on their luck and doesn't have anything, well, what are you going to choose to do, right? You still have options. Maybe they're not the best options. Maybe you can't skip the line and go to some better situation, but in the here and now, you could choose to make a left turn or a right turn, right? You can choose to use drugs or you can choose to not use drugs, right? You can choose to freaking spout some freaking violent rhetoric on the internet, or you can choose to depose the right word. Let me check this. Define depose. Remove from office. Okay, that's not the right word. But the opposite of promote. I'm not always the most eloquent guy. So you have options, and that is where your power lies, right? Now, where am I going with this? Anyway, that was a concept, a mixture of concepts from both my English professor and then that podcast, Work Life. So they were talking about how power, rather than corrupts, it reveals things about people. And with that idea is when people have too many options, you start seeing things that are unfavorable about these people. I mean, you can think of it in a simple thing. Right? And there's a sense of luck involved and fortune involved in which you may be, right? Now that's not to say, and then we're going to get into the topic of like deserving. I don't think anybody deserves a bad life, right? Everybody deserves to be happy. But it's unfortunate if somebody turns out to be not a good person, right? And part of what shapes people is, the stuff they're exposed to, right? I get kind of annoyed with how people talk about like entry level jobs, like working at like fast food and retail stores, and it's like, yeah, I can relate to having to deal with shitty customers, but you don't have to make it even worse by like commiserating with your coworkers. Like you can say enough to be like, yeah, you guys are on the same page, you guys get it. We did this, at my previous jobs too. It's like you kind of create a little community of people, like-minded individuals who can complain about the same things, but it's not healthy. You can understand that this is the case of things, and then try to work to get it better, make it better. And so, man, I'm relating fucking thing after thing after thing. Let me go ahead and make a freaking list here. because we got a freaking web going on now. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do a window capture. I should have saved that one. Window capture, new source, random things. And we're gonna set it to Notepad, and hopefully this one will work. Okay, we'll put it right there. All right, let's set the text to something bigger. I don't know how to use this new version of why make the text bigger? I just want to set my freaking font size, dude. All right, I guess we'll choose heading size then. Oh, nope, it's a formatting thing. I don't want to fucking format. I just want to change the size of this freaking text, dude. Oh my god. Somebody help me. I'm a fucking boomer and I don't know how to fucking change the font size on fucking Notepad of all things. Holy fucking shit. Okay. How the fuck do you change font size in Notepad now? Settings, top right corner, go to edit. Too many windows open, dude. Edit. Font. All the way at the bottom. And it brings up a whole big ass thing. Alright. That's fine. That's too big. I could have sworn I had one size lower than that. Fucking shit, dude. Alright, so. English professor. Hour equals option. Right? Work. Life. Podcast. Making sense of my thoughts right now. Holy shit. Okay, I need to change the font a fucking again, dude. With that, I guess. Alright, Work Life Podcast. Power Money Reveals. Ay, ay, ay. English. Ay. Prof. Power equals options. Golly, dude. Star Talk Radio. Journalism professor. But more good stuff on to drive the bad down. Man, this is going in a weird fucking direction, I'll tell you what. So I feel like a lot of people have way more options nowadays than they used to, right? I mean, I think that's undeniable. But what people don't realize is that they have them, right? People feel like they don't have any options. People feel powerless, and they tell each other that they are this way. And it's like, nah, dude. You have so many freaking options, and you keep listening to the people that are telling you that you don't have them. It's fucking bullshit. And then you fucking believe them, and it's easier to believe them because you get to put the blame on somebody else, right? And we all fall victim to it. I do all the time. You start telling yourself these things. But the thing is, you have options, and you can make things better day by day. And some days you're gonna fall back, but you just want to have the scales tipping in the right direction, right? So let's talk about Star Talk Radio. There was an episode where I think it was a professor of journalism at New York University or something like that. And they were talking about misinformation and disinformation on the internet. Anybody could post anything they want on the internet, and a lot of it's fake news, right? And so Neil Tyson was like asking the professor, well, what do we do with that? You can't just remove stuff from the internet because it's like it's going to be everywhere. If it's up there, it's up there, right? And he's like, yeah, there's going to be good stuff and there's going to be bad stuff on the internet, and you can't really take things down from the internet, right? And so what do? You have to put more good stuff on to drive the bad stuff down. And what does that mean? It's like just have more good stuff up on there. Kind of like in that other video, which we didn't watch the whole thing of. But I think we did watch that section of that Veritasium video, right? When you join a new network, say Facebook, and then you're going to get connected with other people, you're more likely to get connected with other people that are also widely connected with other people, right? So you're going to see things that are already spread out, in a lot of places, rather than things that are niche or niche, right? And same thing goes for the good stuff and the bad stuff. There's going to be good stuff that's spreading all around. There's going to be good stuff and bad stuff, right? And you just got to freaking keep promoting the good stuff. That's it. That's not to say fucking put your head in the sand. You got to be like, yeah, there's some fucked up shit going on, but we can be aware of it and then do what we can to deal with it. And some of these things, you just have to stop feeding it, really. Like the whole Morgan Freeman perspective on like racism. It's like just stop talking about it to some extent. Like I grew up my whole life in an area that's like super duper diverse, and it's only gotten more racist as I've started hearing about it on the freaking internet and on TV and shit. It was like fine up until then. Anyways, all that to say, I'm probably going to talk about this kind of topic many times in the future, but this is just a little snapshot just randomly during the stream. Anyway, let's get back to it.
It's not a winning position. Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. Just a quick reminder that if you like tea and you like discounts, I am running a 50% off on 3 flavors of mine that will be expiring at the end of November. So use code We Don't Waste for 50% off those flavors. And also my winter flavors that you guys loved last year are back in stock. They are on the website, and that's all. So I have made several videos over the last number of months explaining how various extremely progressive movements have fallen in a heap or are on the decline. The trans movement, the LGBT movement with the Q plus squiggly do if you're in Canada, because apparently they include, what, Two-Spirit? Is that it? Two-Spirit? US LGBTQI+. Gender ideology, people looking like absolute freaks all of the time. But what I think has become clear, particularly over the last number of weeks, but this has probably been happening for months, is that the left's stranglehold, this grip that it has had on institutions, on organizations, on movements, on politicians, and so on and so forth, is coming to a very unceremonious end. And they have more or less brought it on themselves. Are you surprised? Probably not really. This is going to be
All right. So I feel like from this perspective, right? I'm not necessarily giving my views. I'm just summarizing, right? It's like the left are like the losers right now, doing like being fucking crazy motherfuckers. Now, my dad was a Republican, and man, having to listen to him, listen to the news and shit, and then give his 2 cents to me, and I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit, right? Like some of his views were, I could see where they're coming from, but there were obvious holes in them, and it annoyed the fuck out of me, right? And then I get into this relationship, and then she's on the other side of the spectrum, and I'm starting to realize, yeah, you're this fucking same to me. You know what I've noticed for most of my life, though? People are generally pretty cool, regardless of what your political views were. And it was only until recently that people are saying, like, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be on our side all the time with everything, that things have been getting crazy. And right now, the left is on the spotlight, but it's fucking both sides. Fuck that shit, dude.
Shocking to a lot of progressives, but it turns out your average person just wants to be left alone.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just saying.
Murder, so there's that too. Since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the response from many people who identify as being on the left has been nothing short of disgusting. Painting over memorials, kicking over memorials, fighting mourners, protesting his official memorial in Arizona, celebrating loudly and proudly online, even calling for more violence and saying that this is only the beginning. I hate it here.
One of the ways I am surviving this political moment is making lists of who I'm going to celebrate when they... Historically, people have celebrated when their oppressor.
Do you support his death?
I do.
You support his death?
Fuck Charlie Kirk.
You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk and you support his death?
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi.
You
support his shooter?
Yep, sure do.
So Michael and his family created a memorial along their fence to honor the slain CEO of Turning Point USA. But late Saturday night, vandals lit the display on fire.
When they burnt that fence, that fire could have went into that house and it could have really harmed somebody.
The vandals also broke the back window of the family's SUV.
People have mocked Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk.
He was my husband, and I loved him, and he loved me almost as much as he loved America. And I want to thank all of the brave, heroic first responders who...
All right, so I'm gonna be like probably doing things a bit different on my freaking channel. Like I'm still figuring things out, but I'm gonna be doing some skipping around because, dude, some people can have some like measured ass fucking reactions and shit, but no, dude, I get riled up. And yeah, these fucking people are disgusting. And again, I think if life were normal and without this crazy everybody's saying this stuff and then like being swayed by the internet and views and their tribe, I think most of these people would be fine. But it's like a whole with great power comes great responsibility type situation, right? With the infinite options you have with the internet, people are going to get fucked up. And these people are fucked up. Yeah.
Responded heroically. Heroically.
You kind of have to be a giant piece of shit to do something like this. Oh, why
Yes,
does everybody want to
absolutely.
leave the left? I don't know, maybe because you guys act demonic on the internet for snaps and clicks.
Now, I want to point out though, I mean, I don't have any, because like I said, I'm still relatively new to all this stuff, but I'm sure you could find clip after clip of people on the right saying heinous shit as well. But that's not what I'm seeing, and that's not what I've been seeing lately. And yeah, that's it. It's both sides, but right now, it's the people on the left revealing that they shouldn't have as much power as they have, or as many options as they have.
They have called for his children to be murdered too, or said that they don't feel bad that his kids will grow up without a dad.
Hey, so Charlie Kirk just got shot. Maybe there are good guys with guns out there.
Update, Charlie Kirk is officially looking up at us, and I'm about to head to the grocery store because I'm making ribs tonight. Oh, but he was a man with a wife and kids. Yeah, and now they're safe from him.
You know, the thing that...
And people don't see... Alright, here's another concept that I have on my mind all the time. Is when you see somebody behave wrongly, right? And you tell yourself that person is a bad person, right? And then in a moment that you are found behaving wrongly, right? In a poor, distasteful way, and are called out on it. Like this is what criminals say, right? When they're caught, is they're basically a victim of circumstance. It's not who I am. It's like I couldn't do any other way. And it's like, no, dude, you had options. You could have chose not to do the fucking thing, right? So yeah, these people want to paint other people as evil people, and then they can't see when they do or behave in evil ways themselves. And when they are called out on it, they try to paint it like, oh, there was no evil to be done there. Or I was the victim actually. Not cool.
Absolutely sends me to Jupiter about these kind of people is that this guy delivering this last line, he's doing it like this because he wants all the people on the internet to show up and clap for him, to say that they agree, and he did such a good job articulating himself in
And the virtue signaling stuff is crazy.
his car. I don't know how to explain this, and it could just be a Sydney thing, and I'm okay if it is, but I really find men, in particular, celebrating the death of fathers to be deeply unmasculine behavior.
Yes, exactly. I'm in complete agreement. And I can. First off, you can argue that what she's saying is a very sexist thing to say, and that is my preface to saying probably something that some viewers might find sexist. But I feel like that behavior is kind of a feminine behavior, and that's why it's that much more off-putting when a dude behaves that way. Not that it's fine for a guy to be feminine to an extent, and vice versa for a woman to have some badass quote unquote masculine characteristics from time to time. But there are negative feminine behaviors and negative masculine behaviors, and they are negative 99% of the time, and even more so when it's the other side behaving in that negative way and thinking like, oh, but it's sexist to say I can't do it. No, it's shitty regardless of which side you're on. It's just even more annoying when you're thinking that that's a good part of the other side or something to be praised at all. Anyway, let's go on.
Non-masculine behavior? Because what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, why would you be happy about this? It is uniquely psychotic to want kids to be fatherless. Like, that's so bizarre. Nothing should be able to shock me these days, given all the things I've seen. But I'm still shocked. These people are icky. But you know what's also a little icky? Having a bad smoke-related habit in 2025, which is why today's video is sponsored by Fume. Do you sometimes feel trapped by your bad habit?
Fume.
Stuck in a prison of vapes and this need for horrible chemical sticks?
Is this gonna be a vape?
Friends, be trapped no longer because I have the key to your escape. Fume. Firstly, Fume's delicious flavor should be able to kick that prison door wide open because it has all sorts of options like crisp mint, mango, and sparkling grapefruit, just to name a few. But guess what? You can enjoy all of these flavors without bringing gross chemicals into your body because Fume is a flavored air device that doesn't use any heating components or vapor. Yes, it's not a vape. Instead, it uses these flavored cores, which you just pop into your Fume and go. So unlike your vape prison guard who has you trapped, Fume is the lawyer here to negotiate your release. Your Fume also comes with movable parts and magnets for your fidgety fingers, as well as some neato little accessories like this magnetic Fume base and this Fume topper. So if you are ready to escape the prison of your bad habit, then click the link in the description, scan the QR code on screen, or go to tryfume.com/Sydney. And don't forget to use code Sydney to get your free Fume topper when you order a journey pack. And really, this was only...
All right. I got to react to the ad. So, I mentioned previously how I started smoking cigarettes because of vapes, and I started with a non-nicotine vape, right? And I feel like for young folks that are like wanting to get into this cool stuff, this is another entryway. I don't think it's a good thing, and sometimes they'll advertise it as a way to wean yourself off. No, you just got to stop. Now, that's not to say the idea of weaning can't help. I've definitely utilized either just smoking less often till I got to the point where I could just cut it out completely. I've also used like those nicotine pouches to kind of take myself away from the freaking need to have a a smoking stick thing in my mouth, you know. But at the end of the day, you just need to change your routine and kind of move away from the stuff that causes you to use that stuff if you're trying to quit. Yeah? Okay. And don't get started. Or do, you know, it's your life. I mean, I did, you know, so it would be, I don't want to say hypocritical, as just coming from somebody with some experience, in my opinion, right? But, yeah, just be careful with that stuff.
The beginning, because in the midst of all of this, a man shot up an ABC affiliated news station in Sacramento, California, angry about the Trump administration and Jimmy Kimmel being pulled off air. Another man angry about deportations and, in his own words, wanting to terrorize ICE agents, shot up an ICE facility in.
Okay. So these people are people that I think are doing these things and still not realizing the power that they have, because they are definitely exercising some measure of power, right? Some options that they have, that they realized, oh, I have this option to do this thing. What they don't realize is that they're too fucking stupid to make a good decision, right? And they do something fucking evil like this. And that's a problem. And that's what happens when people get upset. And you know what gets people upset? Their minds. And what influences people's minds? Other people's words and actions, right? And I think about this idea all the time while I'm driving. People don't realize just how much power they have at their feet and fingertips behind the wheel of a car. Like, people can do some fucking crazy shit, and people do on accident all the time. But people could do some crazy stuff on purpose. And it's amazing to me that people don't do that stuff regularly. And at the same time, it should be seen as like, dude, this is how not crazy people not crazy people generally can be. Like, people are generally normal and just want to go about their fucking business, and aren't thinking about, how can I do some fucking crazy thing, right? Anyway, don't do fucking crazy shit.
Dallas, although he only managed to exclusively hit illegals instead. Similarly to other recent domestic terrorists, he also wrote far-left messages on his bullets.
Wow.
The Atlantic released findings in late September 2025 that said not only is left-wing terrorism on the rise, but for the first time in a long time, it far outweighs attacks from.
No, I don't.
Oopsie.
Response to Charlie's death.
How do I undo what I just did?
Also wrote far-left messages on his bullets. The Atlantic released findings in late September 2025 that said not only is left-wing terrorism on the rise, but for the first time in a long time, it far outweighs attacks from the right. But this obviously hasn't stopped politicians, talking heads, and celebrities turning up and saying that Charlie's death was justified or not an issue.
I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk got shot, and he's RIP. Whatever you want RIP to stand for. Some people will say it's not peace, so fill in the blanks, people. Fill in the blanks.
Yes, this is an Australian politician. No, I don't know how she got elected, and she thinks she's being cute here by alluding to the term rest in piss. There's nothing I can say to this because everything I want to say is hate speech. Anyway, I guess watching this new level of insanity and depravity shifted something in a bunch of people. I think for most of us who already existed somewhere on the right, this has strengthened our relationship to our existing ideals and brought a lot of us closer together. It has reinvigorated some people to get in touch with their religious roots, but I think by and large, it has really brought forward a solidarity between like-minded people. But I think for a
So, there's a lot of sensible people on the right, and I think they should stop talking about how they're on the right. Or on the left, for that matter, because there are the occasional people on the left that are sensible as well. But they don't get the views nowadays because there's crazy shit on the left going on. But people need to stop talking about which side they're on and just talk about the ideas that they have and the views they have, and stop associating it with left or right. We can do that on our own, and I think we should try to start divorcing ourselves from that, because if we do, we could start seeing some people on one side or the other having the quote unquote wrong views for that side, right? because I generally think of myself as like left of center, right? But the more the crazy stuff happens on the left, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not left of center. I'm like way right, apparently. But I think it's a silly shorthand that makes sense for people that can think. But as I've said in other videos, like people, we're all generally pretty dumb, especially with like emotional topics like this. Um, so I think it's better to just talk about specific ideas. Stop talking about left and right. That's too complicated, especially the larger our population is getting, the more things will get lost in translation.
Bunch of people on the left, it has shown them that there is no reconciling with the terrorist movement that progressivism has become. And it's either shown them that and pushed them over the edge completely, or they are starting to realize what their side looks like. It has shown that their side, quote unquote, has some serious issues with violence, and they simply cannot and do not align with those around them or the people in their circles any longer. And honestly, I do not blame them whatsoever for feeling this way. If you hop over to TikTok,
That's why I had to leave school. People were saying crazy shit.
But in this case, I think
In my view, they were freaking crazy.
if you do go and look on TikTok, you will see that there are a bunch of people who call themselves liberal or leftist making videos discussing how disgusted and saddened they are by the left's reaction in particular to Charlie Kirk's murder.
My God. I've been a Democrat all my life. All my family been a Democrat all their life. And this BS shit with Charlie Kirk and everybody acting stupid and don't care about this man's life and his family life, I'm done with you motherfuckers.
This Charlie Kirk thing kind of put the nail in the coffin of me being a Democrat. I was slowly moving away from it anyway because I was noticing certain things, but I know I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican either, but I'm not a Democrat. And I just noticed, like, certain things, like the way that the conversation would be shut down by calling somebody a name or calling somebody a bigot. It's like, okay, and why am I a bigot?
Yeah.
Because I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I can disagree with you and still not want anything bad for you. I started to see how, like, it's one thing to believe in something, it's another thing to tell somebody they're bad if they don't, especially if the view is wacky, crazy, and all the way out there.
It really sucks that it took this tragedy for me to get to this point, but because of this tragedy, I'm starting to see the Democrats' true colors, and I was already pretty over it. Their behavior is extremely immature, really hateful, and I just wasn't seeing how that was productive in any way. Change doesn't happen in an echo chamber, so I don't know how they expect anything to change if they're yelling and screaming at people, yet they're a party that wants all of this change. But if they can't communicate with anybody, then...
As a registered Democrat, all I have to say is the Charlie Kirk shooting just proves that we are the worst, man. My party is worse. I got people celebrating, hoping that he dies. Where's the empathy? Where's the respect, man? It's disgusting.
Many of the people discussing this recently have said that they feel utterly disgusted by the left's overall response to Charlie's death, finding it completely contrary to their own values. And this isn't only the people making the videos, countless people are in the comments expressing similar ideas and sentiments. Even big left-wing figures like Dean Withers and Ethan Klein became extremely emotional upon finding out that Charlie had passed. And actually, Dean had to walk back his crying because people called him out for it, because that's normal. I mean, at some point, you really do have to look at your audience and figure out what the hell you've cultivated if the people who are following you are checking you because you're having a human, natural, emotional response to a father and a guy being murdered in front of thousands of people because he was having conversations.
So I think there's already been, I mean, there's been studies on like in-group, out-group, like empathy kind of thing. And I think it's kind of telling if somebody doesn't have empathy towards an out-group when they're supposed to be the side that's like for diversity. Like you should have empathy for everybody. And that's not to say I'm like a huge proponent of empathy. I think it's got its pros and cons to engage in that stuff. And I'm a fucking crybaby myself. But yeah, man. Anyway, we got to get off the internet, folks.
Being held hostage by people in this way is not a good thing. This is why our relationship works so well, because I am the mama bird here and I do the vomiting into your little baby bird mouths, and you guys are like, Sydney, stop being weird. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Even Jeffree Star, of all people, and some of you in my audience won't know who this is, but he is very, very big in the makeup space. He spoke to his enormous audience recently and called out the left's absolute insanity, going after the they-thems and those celebrating Charlie's murder.
Okay, this is a grown man who fought for the truth, who went all around our country debating people of all walks of life, walks of religion, walks of sexuality. He debated everybody.
Uh-oh.
And if you're in here saying it wasn't the truth, you are a they-them loser, okay? You are one of those people who doesn't want to live in reality. You want to live in your weird little brain up here.
Lots of these people do maintain plenty of liberal ideas, but they have zero interest in being grouped in with Democrats or the left any longer. As one woman captioned a TikTok, "Congrats Democrats, you have turned a devout atheist Democrat into a God-fearing independent." And as another said, she's stepping out of the Democrat/Republican paradigm and really wants to pursue thinking for herself, which sounds, obvious to a lot of people, but I think this is a great way of thinking about politics and a great thing to do. And it takes a lot of courage to say that on the internet right now. But this position honestly seems to be a long time coming as far as waking up and leaving the left goes, because once again, although there are an influx of people recently saying that they are done and the Charlie Kirk murder and everything surrounding it really changed their perspective, there are countless other people online too who've been making similar comments about the way that the left and Democrats behave for quite some time.
But honestly, if you want to know the truth, what really did it for me is realizing how freaking depressed I was when I was functioning as a liberal. Liberalism will literally make you hate yourself, it will make you hate your family, it will make you hate your friends, it will make you hate everything about the world. And I'm not saying
I mean, I just want to say from my experience, it kind of tracks. And it's like, that phrase, when your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It's like when your only lens is, to seek out injustice and all this stuff, everything's going to look like that to you. And it is not so annoying. One, it's annoying. Two, it's not helpful. Three, it's unproductive, damaging, and it's also just ridiculous and false. Like, all right, so one of the things that I have on my mind again is I was playing some Final Fantasy 14, just trying to enjoy, and I was like, hanging out with some folks in a Discord, and I knew pretty early on. I mean, we're all cordial, right? Nobody knew that I didn't really care for the group, but it's like clear to me that this isn't like my kind of crowd, right? So it's like we're just hanging out playing, but like I hear later on how one of them was making a stink about the way that some folks talk, and they were talking about the word retard, right? And it's like, dude, who taught you that you have to be offended by the word retard? It's like, did somebody be mean to you? Like, fuck them, dude. But don't let them have power over you, right? That's my perspective anyway. It's like, dude, these words are not evil words on their own. It's the intent behind them that matter. And if you make that word like unmentionable, then you're going to be losing your ability to interpret people's intentions. Anyways, that's a little tangent. The thing I wanted to say was this person was like, saying like, "Oh, are you, using that word in a way that's like not meant to be offensive?" And they had to explicitly ask, and it's like obvious that they weren't, right? And they had to like kind of justify why, basically, how they're still hanging out with these people that are using a word that they think is like not a good word to use, right? But I guess later on, some days or weeks later, they brought it up again. It's like, oh, I'd really appreciate it if you stop using this word because every time I hear the word retard, it gives me COVID. And I'm like, dude, what a fucking tone deaf fucking thing to say. Like, my mom died of COVID. Like, fuck you, you stupid fucking cunt. Fucking kidding me? You think your fucking COVID giving word, magic word, gives you COVID? Like, fuck you. You're like belittling fucking millions of people who either died of this fucking thing or had a family member or loved one, right? Because somebody said retard and you're thinking that you can equate these fucking things. You fucking piece of shit, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, that's what some of these fucking people do. They have a lot of power, they don't even realize it. And they exercise it all the time, they don't realize it. And, they're thinking life sucks and all this, but it's like, dude, you're getting to play video games and do whatever the fuck you want in your life, and you keep telling yourself that you're not able to do the things you want. You're able to do a fucking ton of shit. But you got this ideology telling you that you're screwed. It's ridiculous.
that you should just be ignorant to everything that is going on in the world, but the way that the left chooses to internalize everything that is going on in the world is detrimental to their mental health.
It's probably worth noting, and I think it's
Yes.
important, that a lot of these people are not saying that they're suddenly becoming conservative. You know, that doesn't just happen overnight. But they are moving more right from the left, if that makes sense. They're becoming moderates and centrists and independents, and honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think that anything that can instruct you to think for yourself and think independently is a good thing. Although the independent moderate thing is definitely how it starts, and soon you will join us! Also, ladies, when you realize that the men on our side of the fence are actual men who like to open car doors for you and will pay for your dinner, it's quite a nice thing to experience, let me tell you now. No more carrying your own groceries into your house, because they will in fact try to get every single bag out of the car in one trip, and if they can't, they act
Oh,
as
shit.
if they have failed you. Or themselves. It's really unclear which. Anyway, but I have also seen plenty say that they've gone ahead and registered Republican too for the first time in their lives. Now, what's really interesting here is that we've had other movements before that encourage people to walk away from the left and the Democratic Party, like 2018's Walk Away, for example. It encouraged Democrats to reject blind party loyalty and gain traction with viral testimonials from ex-Democrats frustrated by the party's shift towards extremism. And that was 7 years ago, before things went absolutely insane. But I do think presently something different is happening here. It feels different, and I think if we're being honest, there is a lot of horror attached to people's reactions when they talk about leaving the left. They are horrified by the things that they're seeing. And although it is awful, I am actually really glad to see how many people are realizing how soulless and unhinged the modern left is categorically insane.
The basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall.
There are people who claim to love diversity, but have zero tolerance for diversity of thought.
So I decided to go no contact with direct family members, specific direct family members, before and after the election.
They are the same people who preach love, empathy, and tolerance, but have spent 2 weeks dancing on someone's grave because he had different ideas to them. And I keep seeing this quote floating around that I think is honestly pretty accurate. The left has gone so far to the left that people have become right by standing still. And once again, I can very much see why liberals feel this way about their own side. Because when they so much as question some of the official narratives on their own side of things, when they express an opinion that slightly differs to what they're allowed to think, they are called traitors and attacked and name-called and shamed.
I guess I'm a conservative Republican now. Even though I've never participated in an election in any sort and never planned on doing that, all I've done is made videos where I've criticized the left, I've criticized Democrats and the things that they do, and they're all getting in my comment sections saying that.
So that's another thing, and I think both sides tend to be guilty of this, is like, you should be your worst critic of your own side. Period. You need to hold your fucking side in check. Otherwise, things will go fucking crazy. Like, yeah, there's the left is the hot, thing right now, right? But the right is pretty fucked up too. Trump is doing some things I agree with, but he's also not the best person you want as a freaking leader for a country, you know what I mean? Definitely better than, our other options. I don't want to fucking get into fucking politics, dude, but dude, just be a fucking regular fucking person. Stop being fucking insane. That's all.
I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, or that I'm a coon. I don't understand how that correlates at all, but if my viewpoints align with conservatives, and that makes you think that I'm a conservative, I guess that's what I'll be. I never planned on voting for Republicans, but it seems like the Democrats want me to do that.
Progressives have been overreaching for years now, with all sorts of issues, like the trans and gender ideology movements being pushed onto children, which is a very unpopular position among basically everyone, men in women's sports, rising crime, illegal immigration, all issues that people actually feel very strongly towards and largely want stopped. The left's own radicalization of the LGBTQIAXYZ community pushed plenty of gay and lesbian people out of the movement and into the open arms of moderates and the right wing.
Howdy, my name is Julie. I'm an adult human female, and I just want you to know that children do not belong at pride events. I, as a lesbian and elder gay, and I'm here to let you know from the community that it is the most perverted, disgusting event ever. It is not what it was decades ago.
Categorically insane people being the speakerheads of movements, institutions, and social issues has only further alienated people. They were recently enraged for like 2 weeks about a jeans commercial, for Christ's sake. They were mad because the woman in the jeans commercial had a German Shepherd dog. Ergo, Nazism. It's kind of weird that liberals are all so depressed because they seem like mentally they're having a great old time. They're not even tethered to reality. That has to be so fun. So with all of this in mind, I think this is partially what culminated in Trump winning in 2024. Democrats have lost their ever-loving minds and as a result have completely abandoned everyday normal people and have instead embraced radicalism. And recently, it's only been downhill for the left and its many acolytes. Recent reporting has shown Democrats as a party are losing millions of registered voters, while Republicans have had a net gain of 4.5 million voters over the last few years. This includes Nevada flipping to a GOP majority registration for the first time in 20 years. Just recently, I saw that a highly contentious governor race in New Jersey is tied, which is super important, and if you live in New Jersey, you've got to get out and vote in November. Mark the date. Early voting starts in October if that suits you better.
So this is why you see people like Gavin Newsom, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, all being very, very desperate on social media, trying to get the support back to the Democrats. But the bottom line is, it's too late. And until the Democrat Party really just restructures and gets rid of everybody in the party and gets rid of their woke agenda and woke policies that they want to put into place, this will not change.
Even a CNN senior analyst recently sounded the alarm, saying the Democrats needed to fix something, as Republicans have big leads on the issues of crime, the economy, and immigration, especially among independents, who he says win the day for either side.
The GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? Like, look at this.
It should come as a surprise to none of you because weird things are happening over in Europe with a whole bunch of stuff, and I think European people in European countries are starting to get quite cross. Australia and Canada, on the other hand, are... well, we won't talk about those. Around the world, far-right parties, you guys can't see, but I'm doing the little quote marks with my fingers, because most of these parties are just normal right-wing parties, are gaining in popularity, which is freaking out the left. Recent Pew Research data shows that Forza Italia, National Rally and Alternative for Germany, Reform UK, and Vox in Spain have all gained in popularity in recent years and also in recent months. Now,
Alright, so that's another thing that's kind of crazy. I was like, I don't, watch the news. My news sources are people reacting to the news, and because, they're basically acting as my aggregate sources, right? And the reason I choose that over like sifting through it myself is I can read how they're behaving, how they're talking, how they're choosing to present information, as opposed to on text on a page, like from texting a friend that things can get lost in translation and things can get manipulated or interpreted in the wrong way. But when somebody speaks, you can kind of gauge where they're coming from in addition to what they're saying. Anyways, so I don't know off the top of my head which news agencies lean which direction or the other. So I was like looking that up, and some of the ones that it was like, oh, these are the far right ones, and I'm like, oh, I've been seeing like clips from them, and they just seem right, and then the others just seem left, and then these other ones that to me seem like insane left are like, oh, these ones are the unbiased ones. I'm like, dude, I'm on the wrong website. Anyway, this framing shit on the internet is insane. Another video, maybe we'll maybe I'll do a video on it or something. There's a movie that couple of movies, they're really good movies, that my English professor had us watch and respond to. One of them was 12 Angry Men, very good movie, very cool movie. And then the other one was called Wag the Dog. And it was basically all about propaganda and manipulating public sentiment. And it was a pretty fucking neat movie. We'll go over that once. All right.
I personally don't put a ton of stock in polling data because, I think there's obvious reasons why not. But I do think that there has been a sentiment shift all over the...
I would rather not say obvious reasons why not. That's obvious to many people, but probably not most people. So there is something called bias, and that doesn't have to do with just individuals. But I don't remember the exact terminologies. Like, shit, dude. There's a bunch of different types of surveys and polls that a person can do, and they're subject to certain kind of biases in the results that they have. And so when you're polling something, the wording of it or where you're polling, whatever, you're going to get some group of people to respond to this poll. And you're only going to be getting the people that feel compelled for one reason or another, not necessarily from an external source, but they themselves think to themselves, I need to respond to this poll, right? Whereas there's going to be many other people that have an opinion that are like, yeah, I'm not going to participate in that. Kind of like voting. Some people don't vote, right? So, you could say, oh, 50% of Americans are this side, 50% are this side. And it's like, well, how many didn't actually vote? You don't know what side they're on. That side is like, I don't give a shit side, or I don't think my vote matters side, right? So there's always going to be some, you got to take these information with a grain of salt.
Even talking with friends of mine who have been historically left-leaning, they're saying some sort of out-of-pocket stuff that I'm absolutely not used to from them, and I'm like, what is happening to you? I mean, I like it, but what is going on? Anyway, so the question here becomes, where does this leave us? Honestly, I am not super sure, because I am not an oracle, although I would like to be one. The Oracle of Texas. What I will say is that if you are somebody who clicked on this video and you are left-leaning and you're sort of beginning to feel disillusioned with your party and your side of the aisle, I think it's really brave to start to pull away and to embrace being an independent or a moderate or wherever you end up landing on the political spectrum. I will be the first to tell you that I think it takes a lot of courage to basically leave your tribe during such a polarizing time like the one that we live in right now. And I'll go one step further than that when it comes to finding a new tribe or where you think you fit in or whatever. As far as the right goes, and I think this has been my experience and the experience of a lot of people, you don't have to line up on every single issue to be embraced by people on the other side of the aisle. Admittedly, I have always been somewhere on the right and have never left the left, but I do know that I don't fit into any box neatly. I have all sorts of ideas about all sorts of things that fit into all sorts of different camps, and I think that that's normal. I actually think that that is the place that most people find themselves in. And if that is you, that is okay. You
Yeah.
do not have to check every single box. You are allowed to have your own thoughts, feelings, and ideas about whatever issue it might be. And if that means that you end up on the right side of things, on the right-wing side of things, that's pretty cool, in my opinion. But the bottom line here, in my opinion, is that the left has really launched itself into the abyss by being militant and unrelatable and actually psychotic on most issues these days. They are loud and they are prejudiced and they sit in their glass houses and they throw stones. And just when the rest of us thought that it couldn't get any worse, they decided to outdo themselves by not only supporting but celebrating the death of a father and a good man just because he happened to say some things that they don't like. And the irony about that is that most of the people who are criticizing Charlie Kirk have absolutely no idea about the opinions he actually held because they won't take the time to listen to what he had to say because, oh no, he's such a bad racist man. How can you make these claims if you've never actually listened to the guy? Despite the fact that
So on that point, I feel like, she's used a lot of clips in this video. There are clips of people clearly not knowing when asked what this guy actually thinks or misrepresenting his views and like him trying to correct them, right? Correct the people that are misrepresenting his views. And yeah, I just won't have it. You know what I mean? And no, let me preface, well, I guess I'm not prefacing it, postfacing it. um, I didn't know much about Charlie Kirk before, his assassination. Right? Um, and I'd see the headlines of his YouTube videos, but I never really watched any of them. The occasional like clip I'd see, um, but I mean, I just figured those were like the highlight ones where it's like, oh, look how crazy these other people are. But yeah, like I didn't really care about this guy's views one way or another, but he was just a regular fucking guy. And for people to celebrate murdering a regular fucking person is insane. And then especially when they don't even know what they're freaking celebrating or what the freaking guy was. They have a representation in their head of what the guy was, right? And I feel like that is something that people engage a lot, left and right, but a lot lately, loudly, unknowingly on the left lately, is just being kind of fucking racist and prejudiced, um, while spouting being like welcoming. I mean, it's yeah. I'll talk about it probably another time.
Liberalism and leftism does have a lot of power still in institutions and organizations. I do believe that it is a movement that, as it stands in its current form, completely deserves to perish. It is a movement that casts blame and points fingers at everybody else while simultaneously not holding itself to the same standards. And I'm gonna be honest, it's quite a pleasure to watch its downfall. In the end, I am not.
So that kind of thing, it's like I get that feeling. I think that's what Schadenfreude is. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I still feel it too, but I think that's on a similar level, or like on the same path of like celebrating the death of another person. Is like that sense of pleasure you need to be careful with, I think. I think Sydney is a very sensible person. Um, but I think that aspect of her humanity, which is what I'd call it. I call it a very human um, mindset to have, is something to be careful of in oneself. There was another point I wanted to make there.
And I'm gonna be honest, it's quite a pleasure to watch its downfall. In the end.
So the thing I was mentioning about the like prejudice on the left, right? They caricature these different groups of people, right? It's like the people that are protesting illegal aliens coming into the country, right? And yeah, a lot of them are coming from Mexico, a lot of them are Mexican, but a lot of them are also from other places, but they just go ahead and just lump it up as like, oh, people are fucking hating Mexicans. Like, dude, it's not just fucking Mexicans. And it's like, people are coming from like predominantly white countries as well. But, obviously there's going to be a majority thing, right? But I don't know. It's people tend to caricature these different groups of people and for some reason not see how racist that is, especially when um referring to Americans. Like there's people of different races and, different cultures that are just straight up Americans, but I don't know. They want to treat them like they're not just Americans, dude.
I am
Weird.
not saying that this is some massive, complete, and total win for the right. I'm not saying that it's a massive and complete and total win for Republicans, but I do think that it is a step in the right direction. I think that people who are currently leaving the left are doing something that's very courageous. I think that they are stepping into a place where they can have conversations and be open to debate and where things can get less polarizing, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. So to the people who are finding themselves in the last little while a little bit more open-minded to the people who are leaving the left, my support is with you. Finding your own voice and your own position on issues in a time where everything is polarized and during a time where the left attacks you and calls you a traitor and name calls you for questioning them and the many things that they think and feel, that is not an easy thing to do, and I have a lot of respect for it. Now on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Fume using the link in the description. They've been a long-time supporter of this channel. They have a
Okay, awesome video. There's a lot in there. I'd recommend watching it on your own. I'm going to post the link again. So I think Sydney is a really sensible person that generally has really good takes on things. She does a lot of criticizing of the left side of the political spectrum. I feel like she is a good person to also criticize what's going on the right. I don't watch too much of her stuff. I only started watching her things recently, and again, it's because of freaking Alana. But let's just do a little skim through here. I think people on the right need to also criticize people on the right. People on the left, I think, are just crazy right now, so they can't have any responsibilities right now. But I think sensible people should try to point out all the things, not just the obvious ones. I think Asmongold does that quite well. Like, you know, he's been kind of looking like he's glazing Trump and his policies and whatnot lately. But, you know, he is clear from time to time when the subject comes up that, you know, there's things that he disagrees with on the right. And I think that's a good thing, and more people should do that, both on the right and the left, disagreeing with their own side or aspects of their own side. Anyway, this has been going on way too long, and it's got a little too serious for my liking, so we're gonna go ahead and call it here. Thanks for hanging out if you did. Again, I'm not that familiar with streaming, but I think the chat sticks around with the VOD, so there's the links to the videos that we watched. And until next time, probably play some games or do some more React content.